Welcome into the High Noon stream. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. What is this show about? It's about hot topics, current events, whatever it is that is buzzing, making headlines, making people talk and chatter. The whole purpose of this show is that I don't want anyone to come up to you and accost you with a question like, hey, did you hear about? And then you're like, no, I didn't. And then you got to sit there and listen to somebody who can't tell a story. Nobody can tell a story. Some people can. Not everybody. So then you got to sit there and you got to listen to somebody who goes, oh, but that, it's a terrible story. So the purpose of this show is for me to sort of give you a nice little rundown of all the little things that people are talking about, all the things that are happening in this world. Now, what don't we do here? we don't really wade into the pool of divisive bullshit. Okay. So we don't really do that here. Hi, Leslie. So it's all the other things. It's just other things. You know what this show is also good for? When you find yourself in a situation and somebody brings up a subject that is just, you know how people in mixed company, they don't seem to have any sense anymore. They just say shit because they assume everybody believes what they believe and think. Yeah, when somebody does that, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of things that you can go, oh, that's interesting. Hey, did you hear about, and then I'll give you a topic that is non-divisive that, you maybe, well, I don't even mean to say non-divisive because some of these topics are very divisive, but not in the way that, everything nowadays seems to be divisive. Still sick. Yes, still very sick. I would put it this way. Yesterday when I did the show, I was at about 45%. Okay? Let's do it like your computer and the battery power. Okay? So yesterday when I did the noon show, I was at like 45%. Allergies and all of this. I mean, you can hear it. Today I feel like maybe I'm at 65%. Like feeling a little bit better. I am feeling a little bit better. I also think it might be because that entire edible chocolate bar that I ate has completely gone through my system now. And so there are no remnants of that. Yeah, Sunday night, I was feeling so sick, so I decided I would eat an edible. And it didn't do anything to me. I just felt even worse. So I ate the whole candy bar. Yeah, I did. That was not good. That was, holy shit, that was about 18 hours of fidgety anxiousness and flop sweats. I'm like, this is not good. I ate way too much. So don't do that. Don't eat way too much of your... Also, I'd like to point out, this has been an absolute shit day already. We had storms last night. Well, first of all, let's talk about if you're here in Texas where we do this show. We do this show from the 1%er compound high above beautiful Highland Park, Texas. I say high above because we're pretty much higher than everything else back here in the Comfort Nest Studios. It's a shitty day, man. What is the temperature? Do we have a temperature right now? Let me see what the temperature is here in North Texas. Because I'll tell you this, it's storming. Well, actually, it's not storming right now. It actually just stopped, but it was storming like, 5 minutes ago. It's 58 degrees. 58 degrees currently in Highland Park. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, not going to get above, doesn't look like it's going to get above 65 today. Which is good because I have no air conditioning. Which is, another problem. Window units. I just get like a 5,000 BTU, $150, $200 window unit. Just be done with it. My kid ain't gonna want to come here. I'm telling you, that's like the big thing. My kid is gonna be like, Dad, I'd love to come this weekend, but you don't have air conditioning. Luckily, it's still April, and that is not a concern. Even in Texas, although we have already been over 95. That's how I learned that the air conditioning doesn't work. But now that we've got Al says it's raining pretty hard here in Fort Worth. Okay, good. It's coming our way. It's been raining all morning. It was raining all night. So I told you it was kind of a shitty morning already. It was not good. So I wake up, and apparently something happened last night during the storm. And we got a bunch of trees along our back fence line here at the 1%er compound. And I woke up this morning and all the trees are bent. All the trees, I don't know if the wind did it, but all the trees are now bent. And I don't know what that's about. And that freaked me out. Because the way the trees bent, when I tried to go down the steps this morning, I went out earlier. I had to go to CVS. When I went down the steps this morning, I was accosted by tree branches that were now hanging over the stairs. And I had to so I had to hack those down and all that. So that's one thing. Then I get back home, I get all set up, and my beautiful little computer that I love, my little touch screen that I use everything for, blue screen of death. That's right. It's over. It's in the trash right now. It ain't gonna get fixed. It's done. I love that computer. So I am like down to the bare resources. I mean, we still got the good computer that runs the show, and then we've got the spare computer for emergencies. So we're okay. We're okay. Thankfully, at Zilla there at radiomisfits.org.com. Radio Misfits, all kinds. Oh my God, are you kidding me? They produce at Radio Misfits some of the most interesting, unique, one-of-a-kind podcasts. You're going to go check them out. Basically every genre is covered. You check them out. Seriously, if you support this show, please check them out. What are you doing? You're not sharing the show. You're not. It's just nothing. Anyway, been doing this for 2 years now, and I still can't get people to share the goddamn show on social media. That's how these things work. But we'll get past it. We'll get past it because I need coffee now. That's a good sign. I'm drinking coffee. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm really trying to fight through this. But we are going to do a show because I've prepared an entire show. And so we're going to do that. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is the High Noon Show. I am Pugs Moran. The date is the 26th day of April, year of our Lord, 2023. It is the 116th day of the year, which means there's 249 of these bad boys left in the year. Here's how we do this show. Sure, we like to get you all up to speed on all the breaking events and headlines of the day. But before we go into that, we like to give you a little bit of a refresher on what this day has meant throughout history. We call it Erstwhile. On this day in 1777. Ooh, hold on. Struggling. On this day in 1777, Sybil Ludington, a 16-year-old girl, rode 40 miles to alert American colonial forces to the approach of the British regular forces. Paul who? Paul Revere. I said this before. This is the freaking story. How has this not been made into a movie? Well, maybe it has. I just didn't see it. 1952, starring Liz Taylor. A 15-year-old Liz Taylor as Sybil Ludington. I don't know. Maybe it was turned into a film. I don't know. Sounds like a cool story. They threw a 16-year-old girl on a horseback and said, save the country. And she did. And we only talk about the... we only talk about the white guy. Well, they were all white guys back then. That's right. There you go. That's my co-host. We haven't seen him in a few days. I must be getting better if schizophrenic me is chiming in. He's the voice inside my head. He co-hosts this show with me. He's the voice that has told me my entire life that I am worthless and that all my ideas are garbage and I should just give up on them. He's there. Oh, he's there. And he sucks. You suck. See, he doesn't even have good comebacks. On this day in 1865, the Union cavalry troopers corner and shoot dead John Wilkes Booth. He's the assassin of President Abraham Lincoln, who was assassinated last week. We covered that last week. We went into it last week, but man, I'm telling you, you kind of wish that Q was around back then, right? And, I mean, not that you wish Q was around ever, but how come? That's weird. That's very Midwestern. Why is it that we have all this, everything's a conspiracy, except the thing that really does look to be a conspiracy is never really talked about, and that's the assassination of President Lincoln. I mean, it's not believed to be a conspiracy. It was a conspiracy. On the night they assassinated Lincoln, they also attempted to assassinate the Secretary of State and the Vice President of the United States. Those other two failed. The Secretary of State was stabbed, but he recovered. The Vice President of the United States, the guy who was supposed to murder him, changed his mind and got drunk instead. And so the vice president, went on to be president. But there was a whole conspiracy with a bunch of people. And all we do is talk about John Wilkes Booth. We don't talk about, there have been a couple movies made over the years. But, that's a crazy story, man. You go down a bunny hole into the Abraham Lincoln assassination. And you're going to learn things that are facts that are factual, that we've never heard before, that we just didn't know about. It's a crazy story. On this day in 1933, Nazi Germany issues the law against overcrowding in schools, limiting the number of Jewish students able to attend schools and universities. So it's like with a situation here, you go, yeah, it's allergies. Byron says you get sick every 5 weeks. That's not actually true. I get sick anytime the weather changes. And unfortunately, here in Texas, we go from 80 degrees to 55 degrees at the drop of a hat. So, yeah. My 4-season regimented allergies, my Midwestern blood and genetics, this is crazy. You guys never get a frost. You never get a frost down here. You never kill the pollen completely. So there's always going to be an irritant in the air down here. I went through, when I first moved here in 2001, I went through about 6 months of awful allergies. And then they went away. They completely went away. And then when I moved back to the Midwest, boom, they came back. Suddenly now I had allergies in the Midwest again. And then I moved down here, and the hope was that they would go away, but it's been 2 years now. My allergies are worse than ever. So I do apologize. I really don't have any other things. I don't have any like ongoing health issues. I'm not taking any medications for anything. High blood pressure, all that stuff is good. You know, my cholesterol is incredibly good. I know, that's crazy. Because I eat like shit, and my cholesterol is really good. Blood pressure is good. All that stuff is good. I just have allergies. So anyway, so the German thing, got distracted, I apologize. So on this day, Nazis said that Jews can't go to school no more because of overcrowding. So it was like, you know, some people were like, yeah, the schools are overcrowded, and we agree with that. And he's like, let's get rid of the Jews. And we're like, wait, why a specific? Why? See, that's where you lose me, Adolf. We agree overcrowding of schools is a problem, but, you know, make more schools and hire more teachers because everybody needs an education. Not the Jews! That's what they said on this day in 1933. On this day in 1986, the Chernobyl disaster occurs in the Ukraine Soviet Socialist Republic. Chernobyl was on this day, 1986, when the story first broke, when it melted down, and they tried to keep it a secret. They were very embarrassed. It was not a good look for the Soviet Union. The right powerful Soviet Union. Not a good look that their nuclear situation was kind of garbage. And, you know, Chernobyl. We learned about Chernobyl again in recent months when, you know, because the war in Ukraine, they're rolling through Chernobyl. And apparently the problem is that the radiation levels in the forest, like Chernobyl was in the middle of a forest, and that forest is just fucking dead. There ain't nothing that'll grow. It's just like, you know, it's all radiated. But the levels had been sort of consistent. And since the start of the Ukraine war, the radiation levels in the area around Chernobyl has, what did they say, grew by 30,000%. I don't even know how they did, but 30,000 is a big number. It's 30,000 something more than it was before the war in Ukraine. And that's because they're saying that these forests hadn't in, you know, 1986, so not since 1986, these forests have been abandoned. And now all of a sudden there's tanks and troop carriers and all kinds of things rolling through these areas, and they're churning up the dirt underneath them, and they're exposing the radiation that was underneath to the air, and people are getting sick. You know, people are getting sick. That's the other thing. There is an entire army battalion or whatever of the Russian military who has been stationed in the area of Chernobyl. Now, they're there because they're supposed to, theoretically, according to the world, they're making sure that nothing bad happens to Chernobyl during this war. They're protecting Chernobyl. But all of these Russian soldiers are now getting sick. And they don't know why. They think maybe it's because you've been hanging out in Chernobyl for the last year. I would start there. Let's see, 1994, South Africa begins its first multiracial election, which is won by class, anybody? That's right, Nelson Mandela on this day in 1994. Born on this day in was that 1994? Yeah, okay, so let's move into birthdays. Let's celebrate some people who were born on this day. Wait, this can't be right. Hold on a second here. Sorry, I told you I'm having some computer issues today. Yeah, all right, we'll start here. Why not? Usually we start a little bit earlier than this. Born on this day, some people who have made contributions who were born on this particular edition of the 26th day of April. Bernie Brillstein, ladies and gentlemen. Bernie Brillstein was born on this day. Do you know who Bernie Brillstein is? You may not know Bernie Brillstein, but you know his work. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a Bernie Brillstein. God, I'm so... A Bernie Brillstein draft. That's right. We're doing a Bernie Brillstein draft. He was a producer. He was an executive producer of television, executive producer of movies. He had massive hits and all of that stuff. You may remember your favorite shows back in the day. At the end of it, it would say Bernie Brillstein or sometimes with his partner, Brillstein Gray. Brad Gray was his partner. Brillstein Gray produced everything that was great. If it was great, it was Brillstein Gray. I'll give you an example because we're doing a draft here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start out with Bernie Brillstein as a solo executive producer. This is his draft, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, the first pick in the Bernie Brillstein draft, and my son would kill me if I didn't pick this one, the Blues Brothers. That's right, the Blues Brothers. Now, I should say that Bernie Brillstein was... very tied into John Belushi back in the 70s and 80s. He was sort of his guy. He took care of him. Apparently didn't take care of him well, but you know what I'm saying? Got him jobs, all that kind of stuff. He was his agent. He was his guy. And then he became the producer of all these films. Blues Brothers goes off the board number 1 in the Bernie Brillstein draft. Also as executive producer, number 2 off the board in the Bernie Brillstein draft. Ghostbusters. That's right. He produced Ghostbusters too. Blues Brothers, Ghostbusters. How about some TV? Let's move into some TV because we're going to mix it up with Bernie Brillstein because he was so prolific in both areas. Number 3, It's Gary Shandling's show. Oh, that was good. The one on Showtime. It was so genius. Gary Shandling had 2 TV shows that were not on commercial television. He did sitcoms when all the other stand-up comedians of his era were getting the big network deals. He decided, now I want to do something different. And he did. He went to Showtime and he made the Larry Sanders Show, which was brilliant. It was so different. It was set as a sitcom, looked like a regular sitcom, except they did that thing where they break the fourth wall, where, you know, they'd be in a scene and they'd be acting and then there'd be comedy going on. And then Gary Shandling would turn to the camera and address the audience and just start walking towards the camera and explain, you know, all kinds of subtext and stuff about what's going on. It was brilliant. It was a great show. It's Gary Shandling show. I mentioned Larry Sanders. Yeah, he's also that, but that was with Brad Gray. That was with his partner. Number 4 on the Bernie Brillstein draft. 1 was Blues Brothers, 2 was Ghostbusters, 3 was It's Gary Shandling Show. 4th, the greatest comedy that's ever been on HBO. Without a doubt. In my opinion, probably the 2nd or 3rd greatest comedy that's ever been on television. And if you're unfamiliar with HBO's Mr. Show. Mr. Show with Bob and David. Bob Odenkirk, David Cross. God, that was a funny show. Mr. Show goes off the board with number 4. Number 5 on the Bernie Brillstein draft, one of my favorite shows. It wasn't a big hit, but people who liked it loved it, and that would be News Radio. News Radio, number 5 off the board in the Bernie Brillstein draft. Blues Brothers, Ghostbusters, It's Gary Shandling Show, Mr. Show, and News Radio. But Bernie has a whole bunch of stuff, man, and it was hard limiting it to 5. So let's jump into some summer camp invites. That's right. These are undrafted free agents. They weren't drafted officially, but we're going to bring them in. We're going to take a look at them. We're going to bring in Alf, ladies and gentlemen. Bernie Brillstein, Alf. He gave Alf to the world. We're going to bring in The Naked Truth. The Naked Truth was a sitcom that aired for like 2 seasons, but it was the first thing that anybody ever saw Tia Leone in, and I applaud that. Politically Incorrect, the original version of the Bill Maher show that was on after Nightline on ABC. That gets a camp invite. How about Summer Rental? John Candy? Yeah, Summer Rental. How about Spies Like Us? Yeah. How about Happy Gilmore? Yeah, camp invite. How about The Cable Guy? How about Continental Divide? How about Days and Nights of Molly Dodd? Now let's take a stop down here, okay? Pugs! The fuck is Days and Nights of Molly Dodd? Is what you're thinking. And I'm going, nah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It was a show that aired in the 80s. Late 80s, early 90s. NBC really pushed it. NBC really wanted it to be a hit. So they gave it every opportunity in the world. Starred Blair Brown. She played Molly Dodd. It was a smart sitcom. It was not like stupid, oh, womp womp. You know, it wasn't like that kind of sitcom. It was like smart. And Bernie Brillstein was really behind this. And there was a fight between Bernie Brillstein and NBC, the network. And the fight was over a laugh track. Bernie Brillstein did not want a laugh track on his show. You know, the ha 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 ha, you know, the laugh tracks that you hear on sitcoms. NBC said, no, this show is too smart. There's too much nuance in the jokes. We need laugh tracks. We need laugh tracks to let the dumbass audience at home know that was supposed to be funny and you should be enjoying yourself. That's what a laugh track is for. You get that, right? You know that's what a laugh track is for. It's not for the performers. The performers aren't hearing the laugh track, right? That's not, fueling their performance. The laugh track is edited in later. So it doesn't serve any real purpose as far as, the performance goes. The laugh track is specifically because they know you're stupid. Yeah. We're all stupid. What was that supposed? So what Bernie Brillstein did, and this is why I'm talking about Molly Dodd, because it was brilliant. It was such a brilliant compromise that they came up with. Okay, so they decided that with Days and Nights of Molly Dodd, the television show on NBC, the East Coast from the Mississippi East would receive no laugh track. There would be no, when that show went out to the East Coast and east of the Mississippi, there was no laugh track. When the show went out to the west of the Mississippi, there was a laugh track. And the unfortunate reality is that on the East Coast, the show bombed with no laugh track, and it was a moderate success when it included the laugh track. So what does that prove? That proves that sticking to your principles about it's not right to think people are stupid, it means that's a sucker bet because people are stupid and they will disappoint you. And the show that aired that did not have the cues telling you when it was supposed to be funny, people didn't get. The show that had the cues going, that was funny, you should laugh. The programming kicks in and they go, that's funny because the laugh track. It's a very interesting moment in television. It was a very interesting little experiment that they did there. And it proved the networks were right, that laugh tracks work. You hate them, oh, but they work. Also, we should mention a couple of shows that he did with Brad Gray that need to be mentioned. We already mentioned the Larry Sanders Show, one of the great shows of all time, Bernie Brillstein, Brad Gray production. But also, we would be remiss if we did not mention, The Sopranos. There you go, The Sopranos. And The Sopranos would have been number one on my Bernie Brillstein draft, but that was a Brillstein Gray production, so I left him out of that. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm having a little difficulty. You guys know. So, this is hay fever. I mean, that's what they call it. It's a low-grade fever, and it's a sinus infection, and it's, allergies. But people commonly call it hay fever. I never called it that because I always knew it was just allergies. But do you hear this? Do you see the lack of energy? Do you see how, what is wrong with me? I could not go shoot hoops right now. I couldn't. If somebody said, let's shoot hoops in the driveway, I'd be like, nah, man. How about we lay down and watch a movie? How about we lay down on the couch, get under some covers, and watch a movie? Born on this day in 1933, Carol Burnett. Oh, my God, is she an icon? Carol Burnett is 90 years old today. 90 years old. The great Carol Burnett. Now, it would seem with someone as iconic as Carol Burnett that we might be able to do a Carol Burnett draft, but we ain't doing a Carol Burnett draft because what do we know her from? We know her from the Carol Burnett show. I mean, if you were going to do a Carol Burnett draft, what would you do? I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know. But I'll say this about Carol Burnett. The Carol Burnett Show aired on Saturday nights on CBS for a whole bunch of years when I was just a super little kid. And I like to say that my particular style of comedy that I enjoy, the sense of humor that I've developed over the years, is probably primarily influenced by Second City TV, SCTV. That's probably when I was like 10 years old. That was the funniest damn thing. And I just couldn't believe that, you could be funny like that. Like I was like, this is hitting me in a different way. But before that, I can say that the earliest comedy influence on my life was the Carol Burnett Show, without a doubt. Because I can vividly remember Saturday nights getting in the tub, getting, in your jammies and all that stuff, and then running out and sitting down Indian style in front of the TV, watching Carol Burnett, in 1974 on CBS on Saturday night. I didn't know what I was watching. I knew I loved it though. And I knew that that was my show. So as far as like the first comedy show that really made an impact on me, I mean, I was too young for like laughing and, stuff like that. So it was Carol Burnett. Carol Burnett, God love her, 90 years old, a true American treasure. Born on this day in 1958, Giancarlo Esposito. Oh, my God. He's a guy you don't know. He's a guy whose name you know. You're like, oh, I've heard that name before. But I don't think you really place the name with the face. When you see the face, you go, I love that guy. And then you're like, oh, that's Giancarlo Esposito. Yeah, that's right. Giancarlo Esposito draft. I love him. I love him so much. He's one of my favorite that guy actors, and he's not even a that guy actor anymore. He's Giancarlo Esposito. The first pick in the Giancarlo Esposito draft off the board, Gustavo Fring from Polos Hermanos, Breaking Bad. Gustavo Fring off the board first. That's Giancarlo Esposito. Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. Number 2 off the board, Gustavo Fring, Better Call Saul. That's right, same character, different show. Had a beefier presence in Better Call Saul, right? Wasn't he more of a mainstay on Better Call Saul? But we were first introduced to him as Gus Fring on Breaking Bad, so that's why Breaking Bad got the number 1 and Better Call Saul got number 2. Number 3, how about Bugging Out? The guy from what was that movie? Do the Right Thing. That's right, Do the Right Thing. Was he the guy? No, that was Spike Lee. Spike Lee was the one who said, yo, Sal, why you ain't got no brothers on your wall? I love that line. I love that line from Do the Right Thing. Yo, Sal, why you ain't got no brothers on the wall? And he's like staring at a picture of Joe DiMaggio and Frank Sinatra in the pizza place. That wasn't him. That was, Bugging Out was the guy on the street who harassed the white dude for wearing the Celtics jersey. He was like the neighbor guy who was like, you come out here in that Celtics jersey. Anyway, number 3, Bugging Out, Do the Right Thing. Number 4, Adam Clayton Powell on The Godfather of Harlem. If you folks aren't watching The Godfather of Harlem, that is awesome. Forrest Whitaker. Ugh. He plays Adam Clayton Powell, a very real person, a former congressman, and he's great. How about number 5 off the board in the Giancarlo Esposito draft? Stan Edgar from The Boys. That's right, came in season 2, took over that damn show. If you love The Boys, Stan Edgar. He's a bad guy. Bad guy, good guy, I don't even know. That concludes our Gus Fring draft, or Giancarlo Esposito draft. We're not going to invite any. He's done a lot of garbage. He was a working actor. He's done a lot of garbage. So maybe there's a couple of camp invites, but we're going to stick with the draft on Giancarlo Esposito. Born on this day in 1960, Roger Taylor. He's the drummer for Duran Duran. Roger Taylor. Was Roger Taylor the Duran Duran member that was in both Power Station and Arcadia and Duran Duran? Is that him? I think he is. One of those guys played on like all the records, all the solo projects. So one of the guys is like Full Metal Duran Duran plus side projects. He's the drummer. I think it's Roger Taylor. Happy birthday, Roger Taylor. Born on this day in 1960. Born on this day in 1961. Starting to have that thing where I feel like I might have to vomit. That's why I don't like to take these pills, because every 5 hours or so. Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna take a we're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break like we did yesterday. I'm sorry. Wouldn't it be fun to watch me puke on the air? Yeah, it sure would. You know what? Fuck you, Byron. Fuck you and your little fucking shit takes. Oh. Gotta do this. Look at her. She won't leave my side now. She did that thing. Yeah, you trying to get comfortable, baby? Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, the camera came right back on. That was good. Usually it doesn't when I do that. Oh, yeah, that's how you want to be. Sorry. The dog did that thing that she did yesterday where when I started puking, she just came and she tried to lay her head between my... As I say, it was more disruptive than anything, but the fact that she cares really means a lot to me. Unlike Byron... You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. So... fuck it. I'm not going to explain what it is. It's about something that I don't know that anybody can understand. This is a really easy thing to do, right? If you love doing it. And what I'm talking about is preparing the show and then performing the show. It's easy if you love doing it. It's not work, okay? It's not labor. That's what I should say. It's not labor. I'm not out there breaking rocks and all that kind of stuff. But the way I have to flip a switch when I come on here and the energy and, you know, all that kind of stuff that I have to do to perform, to rap, to go like that. Fuck, dude, that is really taxing when you feel like this. Jesus, Carol Burnett, talking about Carol Burnett made me vomit. And I love her. That shouldn't happen. See this? This is all an expulsion of energy that I should be saving for things like, oh, I don't know, getting out of bed and going to the bathroom. It'll pass. You know it does. It always passes. We go through this all the time. It'll pass a couple days, back to normal. And then the weather will change again and I'll get sick again. But how about a little credit for me doing this? Yeah, a little credit for you rolling your fat ass out of bed, walking into the next room and then talking to people who already seem to like you. That seems real hard. Well, that is all also true. But it doesn't negate the fact that there is an energy allowance. There is an emotional exhaustion that occurs from doing this kind of performance as weak as it is. So I do apologize. All right, here we go. Let's get back into it. So where were we? We're doing birthdays, right? Yeah, that's right. We just talked about who? Roger Taylor of Duran Duran? I guess it was my Duran Duran thought that made me puke. I don't know why that happened. I love Duran Duran. How about this one? Born in 1961, Joan Chen, Chinese-American actress, director, producer, and screenwriter. Can I just say, I feel like 100 times better now that I have vomited. I'm just realizing, I'm like, no, I'm good. Because when I first came back and sat back down, I was like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. I am like shaky and I am sweaty. I don't know if the cameras can tell, but I'm like all flop sweaty. Look at my eyes. My eyes are all jacked up. And I sat down, I get into this, and I'm like, okay, let's roll, baby. Let's do this show. Let's do this talk. Joan Chen, Chinese-American actress, director, producer, and screenwriter, born on this day in 1961. Joan Chen is gorgeous. Man, my Asian thing, it kicked in late in life. Like, I had friends in, like, you know, high school and in college and stuff. They liked Asian girls. A lot of guys do. Asian women are beautiful. You know, it's just a lot of guys do. I didn't really have any particular, I mean, I just like girls, you know, if she was Asian, that's great. But I wasn't like, oh, she's Asian. I wasn't like that. But I had friends who were. Something changed in me like around 30. I don't know what it was. I was, you know what it was? I dated a Japanese girl. And I was just like, this is awesome. I don't know what to say about it. Other than Joan Chen is one of my favorites. Joan Chen is a timeless beauty. And here's the thing that I've discovered. And I say I came to the Asian Appreciation Society late in life as a man, as a heterosexual man. I came to it late in life. Asian women, what's the saying? Black don't crack. Neither does Asian. I mean, Asian. There's got to be a saying. We got to come up with a saying. Because Michelle Yeoh, who just won every award known to man for, that movie she did, Everywhere, All the Time, Anything, Everything, Power to the People. Whatever that show was, that movie, it won everything. It's very good. It's very good. Michelle Yeoh's like 85. I don't know. She's old. Michelle Yeoh is like old, and she looks like she's in her 30s. Joan Chen celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1961. She still looks like she's 35. These Asian actresses, they don't age. They don't. Born on this day in 1963, Billy Beef Wennington. One of my favorites. One of my favorite guys. He's a great guy. Do you even know who Billy Beef Wennington is? Nah, Bill Wennington was the center for the Chicago Bulls during the Jordan run. We had a combination of centers. We had, let's see, who did we have first? We had Bill Cartwright. Hey, Bill Cartwright. We had Bill Cartwright first. And then I think we had Will Perdue, or as we like to call him, Wilper, don't! Wilper, don't shoot! Will Perdue. And then Beef Wennington. Beef Wennington was the guy we brought in. Bill Wennington is now a Chicago Bulls broadcaster and Chicago Bulls personality. Like we would do in any market where you play in. Got a bunch of rings from his time with the Bulls. But above and beyond that, Bill Wennington is a dude. Bill Wennington is a really good guy. He's first of all, he's delightful on television. Like, he's just a friendly, big, giant guy. There's no, how sometimes Shaq does that thing that big guys fall victim to, where they remember that they're a big guy, and if they get into an argument, the very first thing, because they're losing their argument, that they'll do is Shaq, we see Shaq do that on the NBA show. Like, he relies, at some point, he'll default to, I'm big. Bill Wennington ain't like that, man. Bill Wennington is like the most docile giant guy, and he's a giant guy. He's a former NBA center. He's like the most docile giant guy I'd ever meet. Just a wonderful man. Happy birthday to you, Billy Beef Wennington. Born on this day in 1965, Kevin James, American actor and comedian. Kevin James, the King of Queens, that's what they call him around those parts. Here's what I know about Kevin James. Okay. First of all, I know his brother. His brother did our show a bunch of times. His brother is Gary Valentine. I guess Kevin James' real name is Kevin Valentine or something. I don't know. But Gary Valentine is the brother of Kevin James, and he is a not so good comedian. He is just not. He's a comedian because his brother was on the King of Queens, and he could go and he could play Tulsa and Abilene and all these comedy clubs. He could put together a nice little tour for himself off the fact that he's the guy from King of Queens, and he was also on King of Queens. I think he played on King of Queens. He played one of Kevin James's friends that he worked with. Although and it was weird because they look alike, they look alike. You can see when you look at their faces, you're like, yeah, that's the same father. The same father created both those faces. Those guys are brothers. And they never acknowledged it on King of Queens. And I'm like, you guys look like identical twins. And you're just pretending like you're friends who work together? I don't get that. So here's what I know about Gary Valentine. Dick. He's a total dick. He is, boy, you want to talk about a guy who does not handle his brother being a raging success well. He's petty. These are all things that I've experienced in my own dealings with Gary Valentine, the brother of Kevin James. But also what I've heard from other comics. You got Gary Valentine coming into town. Good luck with that. I'm like, yeah, I know, we've dealt with him before. He thinks he's Kevin James, which is a real problem because he's not, right? He's Gary Valentine. Anyway, on the flip side of that, you have the actual Kevin James who's celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1965. Kevin James's rep, among other comedians, is massive dickhead. They're like the same. The two brothers are both despised by other comics. I don't know. Kevin James is not well liked by a lot of people. He's apparently Kevin James is one of those individuals who is completely different off screen than the characters that he portrays on screen. Like, he's supposed to be real arrogant, and there was a story I was told once about him where he didn't like he was a really good wrestler in high school. Like he had potential. I think it was, did he have a scholarship or something? Whatever. He was a really good standout state champion level wrestler. And he was a tough guy. Like he was a tough guy in high school. Like he wasn't, most comedians aren't tough guys. So he was like a tough guy in high school. And then he became famous as sort of this docile, King of Queens guy. Oh, Leah Remini's going to yell at me again. It was that whole character. And apparently he rebelled against that. Apparently his ego didn't like that he was forced to play these docile characters. So he started forcing, like you see him, he's walking around in MMA gear and he's hanging out at MMA shows. And, he's got the wrestling background. So he definitely does have a history in combat sports at a high level too. I mean, he was very good at it. But apparently he just was never comfortable with being seen as Kevin James, sort of the dork from King of Queens. So he overcompensates in his real life where he's just like a hard ass. Red ass. He's just always red assed. That's the inside scoop on Kevin James. Happy birthday, dickhead. Born on this day in 1970, Melania Trump. Well, what can you say about the former First Lady? Here's what I'll say about her. She's the First Lady I know whose vagina I've seen. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know that sits well, but I've seen the First Lady's vagina. I've seen her boobs. I've seen her butt. I've seen her snuggling naked with another woman. Classy First Lady stuff. That kind of thing. Happy birthday to you, Melania Trump. I'm not going to get into the argument with you, but she's the hottest First Lady. Well, yeah, by far. Have you seen some of the First Ladies? I mean, before Melania Trump is a smoke show. She's a model. She's gorgeous. She's a trophy wife. You'd expect nothing less. She's freaking beautiful. But let's not kid ourselves. She's a dime a dozen beautiful. There are trophy wives in this neighborhood here whose wives are better looking. Without a doubt. See them every day. I mean, you sort of hit it's like when you get really high. You get really high, like you're hanging out with friends and it's like you're away for the weekend. Maybe you're camping and that's all you're doing is getting high and fishing and stuff like that. And you reach a point where you can't get high anymore. It's like, you're like, I don't think I can get high anymore. I think I've pretty much peaked. You know that feeling? Well, that's how Melania Trump is in the hot girl class. She's just reached a place where she's there's a ceiling, and there's a million other hot girls, and they're all married to rich guys too, and some of them, she's just, don't get me wrong, she's gorgeous. She's hot as hell. But, I'm just saying, there's a lot of hot chicks out there. I guess what I'm trying to say is, she's not like earth-shatteringly hot or sexy. She just looks like a dime a dozen Eastern European Russian mail order bride. That's what she looks like. That's essentially what she is. Oh, you're talking about the First Lady that way? I've seen her fucking vagina. Okay? Yeah, I'm talking about the First Lady that way. A woman who I'm familiar with her vagina. Never thought I could say that. Well, she's the hottest First Lady. Yeah. Have you seen the other First Ladies? Here's what's funny. Have you ever really looked at Jackie Kennedy Onassis? She's so beautiful. She's the most beautiful First Lady ever. That's what they say. That's what they say. Oh, Jackie. It's because they were comparing her to Mamie Eisenhower. That's why that narrative got established. Look at Jackie Kennedy Onassis. She's a 7 on her best day, maybe. Her eyes are weird. She's not. When Natalie Portman portrayed Jackie Kennedy in that movie, Jackie, where Natalie Portman played her, Jackie Kennedy never looked better than when Natalie Portman was playing her, because Jackie Kennedy ain't as pretty as Natalie Portman. So yes, Melania Trump is a smoke show, without a doubt. And I've seen First Lady naked, so that's something. T-Boz Watkins, American singer, songwriter, dancer, and actress. She was born on this day in 1970. It's weird because yesterday we talked about the death of Left Eye. Lisa Left Eye Lopez died yesterday. So her bandmate dies, and then the next day it's her birthday. I bet that was pretty dark. Born on this day in 1980, Jordana Brewster. She's an actress. I like her. I like Jordana Brewster. I've liked her for 30 years. She was a hot 20-year-old, and now she's 50. She's still hot. Anyway, born on this day in 1980, umbilical cousins with Jordana Brewster. How about Channing Tatum? Channing Tatum! Isn't he Magic Mike? Isn't that who he is? Is he a big star? Is he a big star? Okay. Like, how are we defining big, right? Like Magic Mike, huge. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, Channing Tatum's huge. But has he ever done anything good? You know? I mean, like, has Channing Tatum ever done anything good? I guess if you like Magic Mike, that's fine. But that's a stupid movie, so we're moving on. And I'm not a gay man or a woman, so I don't know how Magic Mike is supposed to appeal to me. You closet cases. I bet you Byron has seen Magic Mike. Byron has seen Magic Mike. And he probably sat through the whole thing going, that's gay, with a little chub going. Yeah, that's right. It's fuck with Byron Day, because Byron has no sympathy for what I'm going through. All right, I'm sorry. It's not fuck with Byron Day. Yeah, Jeff Ballard. Jeff Ballard. Eleanor Roosevelt is by far the hottest first lady. That's what we were comparing first ladies to. And then Melania shows up and it's like, yeah, she's fucking hot. Okay, this contest is over. And then look, I love Michelle Obama. I think Michelle Obama is a classy, sophisticated lady. But have you ever seen these arguments online? Michelle Obama is beautiful. I'm like, Michelle Obama is doable. Okay, Melania Trump is a smoke show. Would you stop with the comparison? Dr. Jill Biden is a fine-looking woman for a woman in her 60s. I've seen pictures of Jill Biden. She was pretty when she was younger. She was never Melania Trump. Born on this day in 1992, Aaron Judge. Oh, yeah, Aaron Judge. He the highest paid player in baseball? I think he is. I think that contract was ridiculous, right? Not entirely sure. Brandon's here. Brandon, I had a terrible situation. I don't know. Brandon might be interested to know about how I ate an entire chocolate bar and then was like crazy, crazy high for like 30 hours. The ticket lady laughed when what was this? What are we doing here? Channing Tatum in This Is the End was top tier. April Michelle says Channing Tatum in This Is the End was top tier. I love that movie. Nobody mentions that movie ever. This Is the End is one of my favorite comedies of the last, is it 10 years? 5 years maybe? I don't know. However long. And it's not that. It doesn't feel like that, but I'm getting older. So as I get older, everything seems. Holy crap, you guys. What is happening with our weather here, huh? It is dark. It is dark. Are we going to get something? Yeah, we're going to get. Brandon says 2 of the 28 squares is all you needed. Yeah, I had 16. I ate 16. Brandon, I'm sick, man. I needed something. I needed some medicine. I'll tell you what, though, brother. That shit works. That shit is real. I don't, God. Maybe we'll talk more about that later. I don't know. There are some things going on in the legalization, shadow legal sort. What's shadow legal? I don't know. Shadow legal is not being enforced. Like butt sex, right? Like there's a whole bunch of counties in this country where you can't have anal sex. And if you do, you go to jail. But they don't enforce it. How are they going to enforce that? So, shadow legal. Anyway, there's a whole conversation, an interesting conversation to have about this. And our boy Brandon there, he is at the forefront of it. He is one of the area's top experts on all of these things and how the laws are working. And he's a fascinating guy. We should probably, when we get into this conversation, we should talk to him. Well, you can talk to him now, though, because he's in the chat room. Let's see here. Where were we? We went to Aaron Judge, right? I'm sorry. I'm all over the place, guys. Between these pills and... Although, how about it? I puked about, 20 minutes ago? I had to stop the show, and I had to go and vomit. And then I came back, and I feel like great, man. I do. I feel like whatever it was that I expelled, good times. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys putting up with all of this. Thank you so much. Adam says, isn't anal legal now because of Texas versus Johnson? No, that's not Texas versus Johnson. Oh, my God. I really hope the dude's name was Anus Johnson. How great would that be? A sodomy trial and the dude's name is Anus Johnson? That would be great. I don't even know if Adam's joking, but I just saw Texas versus Johnson about sodomy, and I thought that's funny. That is appropriate. All right, let's do some deaths. Some people who died on this day. First and foremost, on this day in 1973, the world lost Irene Ryan. That's right, Irene Ryan. You know who Irene Ryan was? Irene Ryan was Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies. Do you know that Granny, Irene Ryan, was cast to play the role of Granny? Hold on a second. What's happening here? Irene Ryan was cast to play the role of Granny at 58 years old. Now, she didn't start playing Granny till I think she was 60. But still, I mean... Hold on, guys. I'm trying to... This is not working. Spinning. Ay. All right, so we'll do it this way. That's fine by me. I want to show you something, because I like to do this with old folks. I like to do this whenever we get like an old, like she was known for being Granny, right? That's who Irene Ryan was. But check this. Oops, here we go. Sorry. Check this out. I like to do this with old people. I like to look at them when they were young. Let's check out Granny when she was young, because I'm telling you, Granny ain't bad. Granny is not bad. Okay, so that's make it bigger. Yeah, we'll do it like this. All right, there you go. All right, that's weird. Look at that. That's Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies. You'd date that at 25. You'd be lucky to be squiring around an Irene Ryan. Okay, that one, she's got a little Granny look, right? Look at the face. That's Granny face. She's starting to turn into Granny. I don't know what that is. Okay, so now we're going down the rabbit hole of when she became Granny. But there, look at that. Look at that. We all get older, man. We all get older. Well, let me check back in on this, see what we're doing. Yeah, there we are. Okay. Irene Ryan, dead on this day in 1973. Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies, dead on this day in 1989. Here's a couple of big ones we're going to rattle off right here. Dead on this day in 1989, Lucille Ball. It describes her as an American model, actress, comedian, and producer. She was born in 1911. Lucy, right? Lucy draft! Okay, here we go. Let's do a Lucy draft. No, we ain't gonna do a Lucy draft. She did one thing. She's known for one thing. How do I do a Lucy draft? It's not like she did movies, but she did movies like before she was Lucy. Well, Lucy is an icon. Lucy is a treasure. Lucy is Lucy, right? Lucy is a goddess. She's probably number one. I mean, I would argue that. I think you could debate that. But I think that Lucy is probably number one when they talk about the greatest American female comedian, right? That kind of thing. Lucy. But she only did the one thing. She did the Lucy show and all those different variants. Like, okay, Lucy draft with the first pick. I Love Lucy. With the second pick, The Lucy Show. The third pick, Lucy and Family. The fourth pick, Here's Lucy. And the fifth pick in The Lucy Show, Lucy Part 2. I don't know, whatever. But that's all she did. She did for years. She did these variations of, her being Lucy. So I can't really do a Lucy draft. But God bless her, She was a baller. Born on this day in 2013, George Jones. The old possum. Here's what I love about George Jones. Do you know anything about George Jones? And if you watch the Showtime series, George and Tammy, and you think you know about George Jones, you don't. That was terrible. Now, I'm a George Jones freak, right? Not so much his music. Beautiful voice. He's a beautiful voice, but I don't really like his music. I'm more about the mayhem that George Jones was all about. George Jones. Look, George Jones basically grew up in an outhouse on a hillside in Appalachia or wherever the hell he was from. I don't know. He was from He had to walk outside to go to the bathroom, is basically what I'm trying to tell you about where George Jones came from. So I don't think George Jones had a whole lot of really close-up medical attention and education and all this kind of stuff. But what he had was a voice, a velvet voice. Oh my God, George Jones could sing. But George Jones very well might be retarded. I am not kidding you. I am not kidding you. They're very well. George Jones has been described by many as being the stupidest person they have ever met. And in the George and Tammy thing, Michael Shannon actually portrayed George Jones as having some like insights and stuff in between his drunken falling down, all that stuff. That's just not true. George Jones, people had to take care of George Jones because the dude couldn't, and it wasn't just, alcohol, his consumption of alcohol was legendary. That caused a big problem. But even if he was sober, people are like, no, he was like broke in the head. He like didn't make good decisions ever. He was like really stupid and he was really impulsive. Like you couldn't control George Jones. If George Jones wanted to punch you in the face, he would just punch you in the face. If George Jones wanted to steal a police car, he would steal a police car. You want to go tit for tat on rap sheets with George? I'll tell you what, you give me any random hip hop guy. Okay, just pull out a random hip-hop guy, and then let's compare arrests. And I'm telling you that George Jones is right there with every bad guy rapper that we can imagine. George Jones was a weird guy, man. All right, Dead on This Day in 2013. Incredible singer. Incredible singer. JBM says George was a drunk and that ruled his life. Well, yeah. I mean, that was certainly a big driving force, but there were other factors going on there. George Jones had some mental disabilities, and a lot of people, when they speak about George Jones now, freely admit that. They're like, yeah, he was retarded. He was basically a retarded guy. I mean, and what I'm saying is because he came from a place where if he was like semi-functional, like there are degrees of mental retardation. He had a great voice. So, they would put the waterhead boy up on stage and he'd go, gooba dooba dooba, and he'd sing and people would go, oh, isn't he beautiful? He's great. Let's send him to Nashville. And like he became a star because people saw a way to make money off him. All the while, he's stealing police cars. He's getting into bar fights. He stole a television set and just broke the window and took the television set and was arrested like a block away walking down the street with bloodied hands from breaking the glass and carrying the TV set. He was not right in the head. He was not. George Jones. She stood by him. Barney Styles, what do you mean? What do you mean? What Barney Styles, what do you mean by that comment? Like the Andy Griffith character in No Time for Sergeants. Can you expand on that? Because did Andy Griffith play a bad guy? I've never seen No Time for Sergeants. When I think of like crazy non-Andy Griffith roles, I think of what was the movie? Movie where he played I can't think of it. Jesus, you guys, it is really storming right now. There you go, JBM. JBM, I'm sitting here trying to think of this. JBM posts up with a Face in the Crowd. Thank you. Face in the Crowd's one of the greatest films ever made. Lonesome, who did he play? His name was Lonesome. He played a character. Andy Griffith played the biggest bastard in the world. The biggest piece of shit you ever saw on film in the movie A Face in the Crowd. And then he goes and plays Sheriff Taylor. And it's like, man, that dude has some range. Yeah, it is. It's A Face in the Crowd, Adam. I gave an interview years ago. I'm glad to see that at least two people know what A Face in the Crowd is, because that is such a brilliant film, and it so accurately shows what we're going through right now with the cult of personality, with, the Alex Joneses and all of that kind of stuff. And to think that A Face in the Crowd was made in the 1950s, and they're saying this is what the American public are susceptible to. The American public Mob mentality, if you can stoke, that's what A Face in the Crowd was about. And man, is it ahead of its time. Anyway, two people mentioned A Face in the Crowd, which I like. Years ago, I gave an interview. It's the interview we've talked about a lot in the 105.3 project that we're working on during the 9 o'clock hour here that we do. We do a show Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Time as well. We've been talking about the scathing Richie Witt article from, 10 years, 12 years ago now, that basically exposed, after 105.3 had gone down, Richie Witt just wrote a story about Russ Martin that was just... It was terrible. I would have hated to have been Russ Martin having to read that on the toilet. That was not a good bowel movement for him when he was reading that. But I participated in the interview. And at the time, and Richie's a really smart guy. At the time I said, Richie, it's like the movie A Face in the Crowd. Have you ever seen A Face in the Crowd? Because that's who Russ Martin is. That's exactly who I see Russ Martin is. And he had never seen the movie. And I was like, God damn it, nobody knows the reference. And then here we go. JBM and Adam Reyna. They both get the reference. I like it. It makes me feel like I'm not so weird. Maybe other people at least are weird. All right, let's talk about what's happening today. Those are all of the events that have transpired on this day throughout time. Call that segment Erstwhile on this day. Let's get into the things that are trending, all the stuff that people are popping off about, and still, because, we love this stuff. Tucker, the mother Tucker is trending. Tucker is trending. There's more details coming out about what exactly happened, why he was fired. We went through how it was determined that he was fired. It was a Friday night conversation between Lachlan Murdoch and Suzanne something. I don't know, whoever the woman is in charge at Fox News, where they decided on Friday night that they were going to let Tucker Carlson go. But the specific reasons for why he was let go, so those are starting to be revealed now. So during the Dominion case, in the discovery stage of that pretrial, they discovered a whole bunch of voicemails, emails, all kinds of things from Fox personalities, private conversations that they were having, with each other about the stuff they were doing on the air. And they all basically admitted that they didn't believe what they were doing on the air. And that's the problem. And that's why Fox News settled with Dominion. And settled for $800 million because let's just make it go away. They settled for $800 million because they were caught dead to rights. Because that's just it. And they settled. Okay, $800 million. Smartmatic's coming up over the hill. Smartmatic's going to be an even bigger one. Smartmatic is suing Fox News for twice what Dominion was. So in the discovery process of the Dominion trial, some text messages and some phone conversations, some recordings with Tucker Carlson were revealed. And in those, so they're revealed. Very embarrassing. For a couple of days, everybody was like, Tucker doesn't like Trump, because he said he hates him and all that kind of stuff. In the days that followed that, Tucker Carlson apparently was walking around Fox News bragging about how he was untouchable and about how he didn't care and that he's glad that all of that came out and that he is specifically happy that what he said about Fox management came out and that, he's the big cock of the walk. So that was it. He was going around telling everybody, yeah, I'm untouchable. And apparently that really got under Lachlan Murdoch's skin. Howard Stern was trending today because Howard Stern went on a rant today about Tucker Carlson, where basically to surmise it, he said, but Tucker forgot he was an employee. and that's what happens. Now, that doesn't happen when you own your own platform, which is something that he may investigate, which is probably a good way for him to go. But yeah, when you're working for Fox News, you're still an employee, dude. I don't know how big you think you are. I will say this. I will say this about Tucker Carlson. I believe that in my entire life of watching media, the firing of Tucker Carlson is the biggest firing in TV history. Firing Tucker Carlson at this stage of his show's success at Fox News is akin to NBC firing Johnny Carson after his DUI in '78. I mean, imagine that. Now, not the same because, there was only 3 channels back in 1978, so the television audience was much larger. Johnny's audience was 20 times what Tucker's greatest audience ever was, but that's just because of lack of choice. People who didn't want to be watching Johnny Carson were watching Johnny Carson because he only had 3 channels. Also, it's being revealed now, the New York Times is reporting that the reason that we haven't heard anything from old Tucker about this, which I don't think is weird. Like, people are like, oh, how come we haven't heard Tucker say anything about being fired? How come he's not burning down Fox News? And I'm like, it's only been 2 days. What do you mean, why isn't he? Because he's a pretty smart guy. And he understands how these things work. He needs to lay low for a couple of days. There's going to be plenty of time for him to burn bridges at Fox. However, Fox has leaked, somebody at Fox, actually, I'm going to click on this, we'll find out who. Oh, never mind, this will take forever. Apparently Fox News, which is so Murdoch. It is so Murdoch. If you watch Succession, oh my God, you could totally see this being... Apparently, Fox News has what's known in political circles as opposition research on every single one of their hosts, which means that at some point, Fox News hired private detectives and investigators to follow around, your Sean Hannitys and your Laura Ingrams and your whoever and your Tucker Carlson. And the New York Times is reporting that Fox News has threatened Tucker Carlson with Oppo research release, which apparently, I don't know. What could Tucker Carlson have done? I mean, what could he have done in his regular street life? Is he a rapist? I mean, is he a gay guy? I mean, what could Fox News release about Tucker Carlson that would make his army of diehard followers go, nah, that's a bridge too far? Gay is the only thing that I can think of. But he's not. He's not. Tucker Carlson's not gay. Although that bow tie is a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some shady deals, maybe some arrangements. I don't know. But anyway, those are the stories. And we're getting more. There's going to be more. We're going to find out all kinds of stuff. We're not finding out nearly enough about Don Lemon. Apparently, the Don Lemon firing was... according to most sources, and I totally see this as how it went down because Don Lemon is such a bitch. Apparently, CNN wanted to bring Don Lemon in and have a conversation with him about his behavior and issue a warning. And the warning would be the threat of termination, okay? Now, Don Lemon's agent had this conversation with CNN on Monday morning. Don Lemon's agent then called Don at like 11 o'clock. Don's on the morning show, so he does the morning show. He goes home. And his agent calls, and he tells Don Lemon that you need to go in and you need to talk to Chris Licht. And Chris Licht is the guy in charge of CNN. You need to go in and you need to talk to Chris, and you guys need to hammer this out. Look, they're serious. They have threatened termination. Okay, that is apparently what was conveyed to Don Lemon's agent. Don Lemon then went they can't do this to me. And Don Lemon went on Twitter and announced that he'd been fired, which then apparently caused CNN to call Don Lemon's agent immediately and go, we didn't fire him. And they ended up having to fire him because they're like, this is insane. This guy is out of control. Instead of coming in and talking about his behavior and how management has some concerns, like everybody else with a boss has to do. No, Don Lemon went to Twitter and broke to the world that he'd been fired when in fact it appears that maybe he hadn't been fired. Maybe they were just pissed at him. Proud Boys are trending. Proud Boys. Do these guys know that that's the gayest name imaginable? I mean, are they aware of that? Like, Proud Boys sounds like a drag team. And I don't mean drag racing. I mean like a bunch of people, you know what I mean? Proud Boys. Is it tongue-in-cheek? Is it it might be tongue-in-cheek. I'll give them credit if it's tongue-in-cheek. But I don't know if calling yourself, I'm a proud boy. That's a little... Yeah, I don't think so. Proud Boys are trending because in court, Enrique Torres, who is the leader of the Proud Boys, or at least self-proclaimed, or he seems to have some stripes, he's on trial for seditious conspiracy to, I don't know what it is, January 6th, that stuff. So he's on trial for that. And, okay, so I don't understand this, right? Enrique Torres is a Proud Boy? Do they like Mexicans? I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about the Proud Boy. He's a Mexican. He's Enrique Torres. He's in charge of the Proud Boys? I don't know. That's weird. But hey, whatever. Maybe they're okay with Mexicans. Yeah, maybe that's fine. So in the trial, they're just putting it all on Trump. They're the Proud Boys, apparently, Enrique Torres, his lawyer, they're saying that, Trump told him to do this. This is all Trump. So basically the big story there is that the Proud Boys, at least when it comes to being in court, they're rat bastards. They're rat bastards. They're turning on them. NBC Universal. Here's an interesting one. NBC Universal is trending. Now, this story got swept under the rug on Monday. So Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson got fired on Monday. But NBC Universal, they fired their, big boss man. Like, the guy in charge of NBC Universal, like television, Peacock, NBC, all of that stuff. They fired him, and it didn't get any play. On a normal day, it would get big play. That's a huge media story. And it didn't get any play whatsoever because of Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson. But now there's stories coming out about why this guy was let go. The whispers behind NBC Universal's Jeff Shell firing. As the top executive exits over inappropriate conduct, his departure raises questions about his reign. So here's what he got fired for. So there's this chick. She's like a NBC News Dubai-based correspondent. She's a hottie. Her name is Hadley. She's Hadley something. Does that have a name here? Anyway, he was having an affair with her, apparently. And when he needed to break off the affair, apparently he transferred her to the Middle East. That's great. That is great. That's how you break up. You don't want to break up, but I'm going to transfer you to the Middle East. So there's that, and she filed an HR because then they fired her or whatever. It's all very convoluted. But he was doing the nasty with a reporter, and then apparently he was like, well, here in the aftermath of the shock ouster of NBC Universal's CEO. Industry executives present a tale of two Jeff Shells. To some, Shell's acknowledgement that he was departing because of an inappropriate relationship with a woman in the company came as a bolt from the blue. But to others, not so much. I'm totally flabbergasted, says an executive who says he was close to Shell. Jeff was supposed to be the buttoned-up guy. Asked if he had suspicions of improper conduct, a former NBC Universal executive says, no, not at all, not even a whiff, not even an inkling. Another, though not a fan of Shell, says, I've never seen any of that kind of behavior. Never. I've never even seen him be flirtatious. A different portrait emerges from the other NBCU sources. Shell always had a crush on somebody. The people in the office are saying he always had a crush. There was always some new girl in the office that he was fawning over, that he was, giving back rubs to, that whole weird thing. I knew he had crushes and said inappropriate things. He had a type. He liked pretty brunettes. Oh, get in line. Who doesn't like pretty brunettes? First of all, you can just stop after pretty. Who doesn't like pretty? He liked pretty brunettes. Another, also female, remembers Shell being overly friendly with a certain woman at the company. I wouldn't call him creepy, but definitely cringy. At this point, only one relationship has been made public. That with Hadley Gamble, an Abu Dhabi-based Dubai, Abu Dhabi, same thing, right? I mean, probably not, but what do we care? We're Americans. At this point, only one relationship has been made public. Hadley Gamble, an Abu Dhabi-based senior international correspondent at CNBC. She filed a complaint reportedly after learning that her contract expires this year, was not going to be renewed, and that she would be transferred again. Gamble's attorney, Susan McKee, confirmed that a complaint of sexual harassment and sex discrimination was filed, but declined further comment. So she had this Look, This Hadley Gamble girl, go ahead, Google her if you want, It's like a 27-year-old smoke show, right? She's like, I'm a news girl and I'm hot. This guy, Jeff Shell, is like a 60-something-year-old fat executive, all right? He's having a relationship with her. And he's the one that's in charge. I just look, can we be honest? She was sleeping her way to the top. She would not have had a sexual relationship with a 65-year-old dude who worked in the mailroom. She wouldn't. This woman was having... Am I boring you? Did you hear that? That was the dog. She just let out a huge sigh. Oh, am I boring you? Oh, what is that, little lady? You don't like my borderline misogynistic rants where I hold women accountable for their actions? Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of people think women shouldn't be held accountable for any of their actions. But in this case, look, I'm telling you, I take a weird look at a Hadley Gamble, a young Hadley Gamble, who's running around with the CEO of her entire... Come on, man! Who was the girl that was banging Logan Roy on Succession? And then as soon as he died, she got the hevo. She couldn't even get her stuff out of his apartment because she was some young chippy who was trying to take advantage of an old man. Yeah, take advantage. That's exactly it. You know what's in it for the old man in these old man, young women relationships? You know what's in it for the old man? I don't know, sex with someone they find attractive. That's it. That's what's in it for the old man. Do you know what's in it for the woman? Everything else. Everything else. Houses, cars, lifestyle, everything else. So don't, crocodile tears for old Hadley Gamble here. But I do have to give a hearty high five to this creep show guy for just transferring her to the Middle East because he didn't want to break up with her. Brilliant. Anyway, there you have it. That's NBC Universal. That's why that's trending. It's been a couple of days, and now finally that story's getting its push today. We've all tired of trying to figure out the Tucker Don Lemon situation. South Korea is trending. Here's a very big story. If you're for all you foreign policy wonks, this is a big change. The United States first of all, the president of South Korea, Ding King Kok, he's going to be in the White House. That's not his name, but you people don't know the name of the president of South Korea, and I don't either, so I just made up a name that sounded like it worked, and you guys pretty much went with it. We all did. He's coming to the White House, and they're going to have a nice little dinner, and there's troubles with North Korea, and South Korea is our friend. I mean, Jesus. It's like Hollywood East now, right? That's what South Korea is. Boy bands and all that stuff. Boy, I'll tell you. Anyway, so we're buddies with South Korea, not so much with North Korea. And one of the big reveals at this state dinner that they're having with Ding Dong Dunk, president of South Korea, that's racist. No, it's not. Their names sound like that. Am I wrong? You're telling me you couldn't open up a Chinese phone book and find somebody named Bing Bong Bok? Yeah, you could. You absolutely could. There is a Bing Bong Ding. There is a Bok Bok Bok. These names are all the way the Chinese alphabet translates to English. Okay, this is how they sound. Yeah, racist. No, I'm not. They're funny names based on my Western lens. They are funny names based on my Western lens. Well, your Western lens, you've got a colonial... Oh, God, here we go. God, here we go. You know the people whose names I have the most trouble with? Yeah, let's talk about ethnicities. You know the people whose names I have the most problem with? Indian people. What's going on, Indian people? You got no Smiths? You got no Bob Jones? You got nothing like that in India. Everything is every name's got to have 40 letters in it. You know what else is like that? Icelandic names. It's like, Jesus, man, can we edit some of these letters out of here? Do we really need... Anyway, one of the big reveals that's happening in South Korea today at the state dinner is that we're announcing that we're putting nuclear subs back in South Korea. Fuck yeah! They should have never been gone. Jesus. You got North Korea there. All right, so here's what happened. Well, actually, I'll read the story to you. The planned dock visits are a key element of what's being dubbed the Washington Declaration, aimed at deterring North Korea from carrying out an attack on its neighbors. It is being unveiled as Biden is hosting Yoon. His name is Yoon. for a state visit during a moment of heightened anxiety for both leaders over an increased pace of ballistic missile tests by North Korea over the last several months. The three senior Biden administration officials who briefed reporters on the condition of anonymity ahead of the official announcement said that Biden and Yoon aides had been working on details of the plan for months and agreed, excuse me, and agreed that occasional and very clear demonstrations of strength of the U.S. Deterrence capabilities are needed and essential in the region. The agreement seeks to ally South Korean fears over the North's aggressive nuclear weapons program and to keep the country from restarting its own nuclear program, which it gave up nearly 50 years ago when it signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Yoon earlier this year said his country was weighing development of its own nuclear weapons or asking the U.S. to redeploy them to the Korean Peninsula. Okay, so here's... I don't know what the hell happened here. Hold on. For some reason, this entire story got dropped. Hold on. Excuse me. Holy shit, what is going on with my page here? All right, here's long story short. We had subs, we had nuclear subs, we were doing all kinds of stuff. All of that shit was in South Korea forever. We had nuclear ships, we had military bases, we had everything in South Korea forever. This was during the Cold War. Then North Korea and South Korea, brokered by the United States in 1991, made a deal. And North Korea said, we won't develop nuclear weapons. And South Korea said, we won't develop nuclear weapons. And we stood there and we said, you guys shake hands, and they shook hands. And North Korea said, as part of the deal, as part of us not developing nuclear weapons, you need to take out all of your American military from South Korea. And in 1991, that's what happened. The United States pulled everything out of North Korea because they had signed this deal that they wouldn't develop nuclear weapons. Now, what do we know all these years later? We know that was a lie. We know North Korea is developing and has been developing nuclear weapons the entire time, and that's why we're putting the fucking boats back. That's why we're putting them back. It only took since 1991, 32 years. It only took 32 years of North Korea completely lying about the agreement they signed for us to go, maybe we ought to put our nuke subs and point them right at that motherfucker, because that's the deterrent. You want to be a bunch of pussies about, I don't want to get involved in a war. We've got one of the most powerful war machines on earth. God damn it, these saber-rattling bitches need to start seeing what American firepower is all about. I'm not talking about land troops. I'm talking about starting to rattle that stick. Oh, you're a warmonger? Fuck yeah. Yeah, I am. For the American way? Absolutely. If I believe that it's righteous and I believe that it's something that needs to be done, do I believe that we ought to wipe North Korea off the face of the earth? You're goddamn right I do. And anybody who doesn't can go fucking pound sand, because you don't understand the situation there and how volatile it is with that country being... First of all, it's a whole China thing. And we don't have time to get into a whole China thing. But man, yeah, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Hell, this is one of them good things. I'm surprised Trump didn't do it. Oh, but Trump was one. We exchanged beautiful letters. He was fucking kissing this guy's ass. At least now we're pointing guns back at his fucking head and saying, America, bitch, what now? God, I hated that whole relationship. Gonna go to North Korea. The fucking president of the United States stepped over the line and went to North Korea. They met right there on the border. Do you have any idea what that said to the rest of the fucking world? It legitimized this little half pint. He smoked 6 packs of cigarettes a day. This little half pint obese 6 pack of cigarette a day smoking Kim Jong, whatever the fuck his name is. Send a SEAL team in there and take that guy out and free those people. We were talking about a nation of millions who live in abject poverty. No, but we don't want to do it because it'll make China mad. No, China's pissed at them too. China is not really happy with North Korea. So now would be the time. And that's exactly why they're bringing the ships back in there, because they know that China ain't going to make a big deal over this. Because China's getting a little bit worried about these guys shooting their missiles over Japan too, because every time they do that, China's got to answer for it. China is supposed to be keeping North Korea on a leash, and they really haven't been. So anyway, it's a good thing. Dominance in that part of the world with the United States military, I think, is really important. Only if you believe that we are the greatest nation on earth. Only if you believe that in its purest sense, the idea of Americanism is something that everyone should embrace and that everyone would want to embrace. If you believe that, then you understand that that part of the world is a real trouble spot for Americanism. Real trouble spot. And we've got some really good friends there. We got South Korea, we got Japan, we got Australia. We got all of these other little countries that are our little buddies there that are constantly under the thumb of this freaking madman. So I could totally do a foreign policy show. It'd be like dumb guy foreign policy, but still. Now, the Korean Peninsula is not something that we should be fucking around with, and it's not somebody that we should be placating. We've been placating this guy. I don't give a shit if it's... Well, first of all, Bush placated the regime by pulling all of our missiles and all that shit out of South Korea to make, who was it, Kim Jong-un? Wasn't that the first one? Or Kim Jong-il? Which one? I don't know, the dad, to make the dad happy. So Bush did that. Clinton had a very hands-off policy there. But again, in fairness, even with George W. Bush, that was at a time when China was really putting their arm around North Korea. That's not happening so much anymore. So times have changed. We're putting our missiles back there. And that's good. And it's good. And at some point, we're going to have to free that nation of slaves because that's what North Korea is. Or we'll just continue to be like, fuck it, they ain't us. How about this? This is an odd story. I don't know how I feel about this one. So the Texas state legislator did something else that's got a lot of people going, huh? Did you hear about this Texas land ban? Did you hear about this story? Did you hear about this story? Here in Texas, we're not going to allow Chinese citizens to buy any land anymore because they own a lot. They own so much. Ban on Chinese citizens and others owning property in Texas gets initial approval in the state Senate. Austin, Dateline. Many citizens of China couldn't own large properties in Texas under a bill that state Senate gave its initial approval to on Tuesday. The bill has been decried as racist. It's not a racist bill. Well, I mean, look. Some of the people who are pushing the bill might be racist, but this is not a racist concept to say that we should be concerned about citizens of foreign nations buying huge swaths of land inside the continental United States. That should be a concern. I'm not saying we should ban it, but I'm saying it should be a concern and we should look at it. It's racist. No, it's not. Stop it. Everything isn't racist. You know what's racism? Racism when you think that because of the color of your skin that you are somehow above on the pecking order of other people. That's what racism is. When you believe that simply because of the color of your skin, you are better than somebody else. You're not racist because you look at Texas land and think, that's concerning that a whole bunch of Chinese people are suddenly buying up giant swaths of land here in Texas. That doesn't make you racist. That makes you curious as to what's going on. And banning it, you're not banning it because they're Chinese people and they're not white. You're banning it because they're Chinese people. Because China is an aggressor in the world. There are some moving parts to this story, and you can't just be reductive and say that it's racism. Now, again, some of the legislators here in Texas who are pushing it very well may be racist. I don't know. But the bill itself is not racist, in my opinion. It's legit. I don't know that I would vote for it. But see, I would have to learn more about, we got to really look at the situation. You should be concerned about the idea of foreign nationals, foreign citizens buying up large swathes of American land. That's concerning to me. The bill has been decried as racist and faced widespread condemnation from Asian American Texans, as well as residents from Iran, Russia, and countries also targeted in the ban. So it's not just China, it's Russia. Wait a second, this is so confusing. I thought Putin was our friend. I thought that like the heads of the Texas legislature were in that group of people, Americans, traitorous Americans who think that Putin is our friend. You know, Putin, but rather have Putin than Biden. Okay, all right. You want to step right here? The gas chamber's this way, stupid. You don't know anything about anything, and you can't be allowed to breathe anymore. Better Putin than Biden. Oh, fuck you. Now, if you tell me you're wearing that shirt as a joke and it's meant to be funny, then I'd go, it's a stupid joke, but okay, I get it. You're being funny. But I don't think so. I think those people were serious. That has been the thing over the past 10 years that has bothered me the most. This slow creep of heroing Vladimir Putin by the right. Okay. Keep wearing your American flags. Keep having your freedom, liberty, and Jesus bullshit on your social media platforms or whatever the hell it is. You're not an American. You are in no way, shape, or form an American if you support anything that Vladimir Putin has ever done. You don't get what America. That's what we need. We need people to go back and learn about the founding fathers, about what the idea, what they were trying to do, what the grand scheme for this, the great American experiment. People don't know what that was. They just think, it's me, I'm living now, and I want. No. This is a project. This is an experiment. For 200 years, it has been a raging success. And now, because it's a raging success, we're all fat. We're all fucking comfortable. We're all bitter and angry about stupid shit. There are people in other parts of the world who are worried that tanks are going to roll across their border and maybe, they'll be a citizen of a different country this time next week. Those are real concerns. And that happens all over the world. Here, we're angry about where dudes who wear dresses take pisses. That's a luxury complaint. And that's how this country will fall. Because we're too fucking fat and happy and we're complaining about bullshit. Our big problems are bullshit. Our big problems are Bud Light. Are you fucking kidding me? But back to this Chinese ban thing, I'm a little concerned. I am. I gotta be honest. I'm not completely comfortable with it. So I would like to see this bill. I'd like to learn more about it. Like why are huge pieces of land being sold to like Chinese corporations and Chinese citizens, or Chinese citizens and fronting for Chinese corporations? That's the concern. I mean, China bought a building in New York City. Brooklyn, to be exact. And they put a Chinese police station in there. And they started arresting Chinese citizens in New York City. So this is the issue that is happening. China doesn't know their place, man. I don't want to go to war with China. Don't get me wrong. Certainly know what's the end game. We don't want that land. We certainly don't want a land war in China. There's like billions of them. They just come at you with you know what I mean? It'd be like a Middle Ages thing, and we'll use, and they'll have pitchforks and stuff. But still, how are you going to stop like a World War Z kind of thing where they're all coming? We don't want to go to war in China. It'll be what do they call them? We don't want to go to war with China. We want the stalemate with China. We're good. If China and I can find a way, China and us can find. Speaking as America, that I am. China and us can find a way to just sort of coexist. That'd be good. We did that for a long time. We traded pandas, or actually they gave us pandas. They gave us pandas that wouldn't fuck. Remember that? That was like, China's our friend. And to show that they're our friend, they gave us Ling Ling and Bing Bing. There's a male panda and a female panda, and we don't have pandas in America, so they gave us one of each. And now we're going to have pandas in America. Yay! One of them pandas was gay. Maybe both of them. And I think the Chinese did it on purpose. I think the Chinese were like, find me a gay bear, and they went and they sent two Chinese pandas to America to procreate, knowing full well that they weren't going to procreate. Didn't it take like years for those pandas to do it? I seem to remember that when I was like in high school. It was like, oh, they're waiting on the pandas to have sex. They don't seem to be interested in each other. It was like, fuck China. See, that's the kind of stuff they do. They're playing 3D chess. We're playing checkers. They're playing 3D chess, giving us gay pandas. That's China for you. Got to watch out for these people. The FBI has issued. Hey, folks, you got any vacation plans to head out to Haiti over the next couple of days? Haiti. Haiti is like if you want to go to like the worst place in Africa, but you don't want to take the long plane ride, you just go to Haiti. It's just like right off Miami. It's right there. And it gives you all of the vibes of an African banana republic kind of thing. That's what Haiti is. My mom, here's what I know about Haiti. Anyway, we can't go to Haiti. FBI is saying, don't go to Haiti. American citizens, do not go to Haiti. There's some bad stuff going on there. There's gangs that are in charge of the police departments. There are shootouts in the street. It's crazy. So don't go to Haiti. There you go. That's what the FBI is saying about Haiti. Here's what I know about Haiti. So my whole life growing up, apparently, before I was born, apparently my family went on a big trip to Haiti back in like the 60s. And I used to, from time to time, hear stories about the big family trip to Haiti. Like, I think it's probably the only time my grandfather and grandmother left the country. Haiti, right? I guess no. I guess that's wrong. Yeah. Although maybe, I don't know. Anyway. So I always, I would hear this, that's like, remember when we went to Haiti? And then I'm a little kid listening to these Haiti stories. And every story about my family's Haiti vacation sounded terrible. It was just like, yeah, remember when we went to that town and the streets were filled with urine and shit? That was great. And then the goats were walking through, and then you hugged the goat and you got shit all over you. I mean, these are like the stories. I'm like, this was a vacation destination? When was it? Was Haiti good at some point? Like in the 60s or something? I don't know. Why do you choose Haiti? You go left. Go left. You got the Bahamas right there. Go a little bit further. You get to Jamaica. Hell, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's a hop, skip, and a jump. You chose Haiti. You chose Haiti, which is so weird. Anyway, the FBI is saying right now officially, don't choose Haiti. Don't choose Haiti. You end up dead. All right. I hate this story, but you know what? You want an old Pugs rant? You'll get an old Pugs rant on this story, because this story really worked me up today. You know what? Hold on a second. I got to go grab some water really quick. Hold on. Be right back. Give me 10 seconds. Seriously, I just got to walk across the room. Hold on. Thank you. No sound. Sorry about that. Turn the mic off to cough, and then. All right. So this next story. Did you hear about the Colorado rock throwing incident? This is not fun. This is some bullshit. Funny story. Okay, so here's the story. When I was a kid growing up, we used to throw snowballs at cars. Right? When you grow up where it snows, that's what you do, man. The first good packable day, if you're 13 years old, you're going out that night, you're hitting the streets with your boys, and you're taking your newspaper delivery bag, right? You know, the bag that you keep all the newspapers in, and you are making like 100 snowballs, and you're putting them in that bag, and then you and your boys are going out, and guess what you're doing? You are hitting cars with snowballs. You are tossing them over, high in the air, hoping that they come down on cars as they whiz down the road, and then, because you only do this in a subdivision. You don't do this on a real street. You don't do this on a street where somebody can go panic, and so like 20 miles an hour through like a subdivision, you're behind the bushes, and boom, right at the window. And the fun of this is that inevitably, if you get the right person, they will stop and they will get out. And remember, it's snowing now. So this dude probably just coming off work from the accounting firm that he works at. So he's got like shoes on. dress shoes. You know, and he gets out of the car and he's slipping. And he's like, "You damn kids!" And then we all run. Ha 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 ha. You know, we scatter. Have Midwestern fun in the summer. Summer in the winter. My energy is crashing. My energy was really good for like 40 minutes after puking. Now it's crashing again. All right, so throwing snowballs at cars is a thing that I used to do. Everybody did it. Everybody, if you grew up in the Midwest, you did it. It's harmless. Look, now, there's an example. Like somebody once, one dude showed up and he had placed a couple of snowballs in his freezer overnight because he wanted them to turn into ice balls because he thought that was a good idea. I can tell you that dude was shut down right away by the older kids, which kind of shows that I grew up in a nice neighborhood. At least it shows that none of the kids I grew up with were absolute monsters. Didn't 3 kids in your neighborhood kill one or both of their parents? Well, yeah, that is true. Both things can be true at the same time. I can't. No, they were like throwing. I remember an older kid. He was probably 16. We were like 13. And this kid shows up. Brian Wool, I believe it was. He showed up with the ice balls, and he was shut down right away. Destroyed the ice balls. You're not going to throw ice balls at cars, dude. You're going to shatter windows. This is about fun. It's about fun. Some dudes in Colorado killed a woman. That's right. Now with snowballs, with giant rocks. So here's the story. Apparently, there's a group of 3 teenage boys, all 17 years old. They're rolling down the interstate, doing 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. I don't know what the speed restrictions are in Colorado, but it's a highway, rolling down the highway. And what they were doing, and they did this to multiple people, they would pull up alongside of them. One of the kids would hang out the door of the window of the car, and then they would throw a cinder block on the front windshield of the car that's just driving. So you're just driving and then somebody pulls up and they pull up right in front of you and you see some fucking dirtbag kid with a cinder block and he throws it on the hood of your car. It bounces up, it shatters and then they speed off. Why? Because it's fun? You fucking mountain hillbillies? What the fuck? We got a dead 20-year-old beautiful girl. We got a couple other people in the hospital. We've got these idiots. They've been caught. I'll give you the full story. And I'm going to show you these idiots. I'm going to show you these dirtbags. I'll tell you, if you go home today, if you look at these kids and you go home today and you look at one of your own kids and they even slightly resemble one of these kids, haircut time. These kids look like dirtbags, is my point. 3 high school seniors have been arrested after a woman was killed by a rock thrown into her vehicle. Alexa Bartell, just 20 years old, was killed and 2 others were hurt in a string of rock throwing incidents. Let's see, where is Jefferson County, Colorado. Alexis Bartell's family got a call in the middle of the night alerting them that 3 suspects, all high school seniors, were arrested in connection with her death. They're just so grateful, but they're still suffering from the greatest loss possible, said Jefferson County Sheriff's Office spokesman Jackie Kelly. This is the beginning of the journey they'll be on next. I don't know what that means. Okay, just give me the details. The 20-year-old woman was killed as she drove home when a large rock came crashing through her windshield on April the 20th. The suspects were identified as Joseph Koenig, 17, Nicholas Mitch Carroll Chick, that's right, he's got a hyphen, Carroll Chick. One of these hyphen deals that I don't like. And Zachary Quack, Kwak. All 3 are from Aravada and are high school seniors, but they attended 3 different schools. Let's see. According to the sheriff's office, all of them are being held without bail at this time on a charge of first-degree murder with extreme indifference. 17. You know what? I'll save the rant. Let me give you more details before we go into that. It's described as an attitude or a behavior which exhibits indifference about what they're doing, Kelly said, as of the charge. And in this one, it was in relation to respect for human life. So that's the extreme indifference charge. First-degree murder with extreme indifference. So they exhibited a behavior that had absolute indifference towards what they were doing and the cost that it would enact. They were all involved in this criminal episode, said Kelly, although it's unclear who was driving and who was throwing rocks. Oh, that'll become clear. That'll become clear in trial. Oh, trust me, it's going to become way clear in trial. Because one person threw the rock. There's three guys. One person threw the rock, one person drove, and one person sat in the passenger seat. So the person who threw the rock, oh, they're dead. They are dead to rights because the two other, they are not going down for the murder of this 20-year-old. They are going to turn and they're going to tell everything, as well they should. Because apparently it's just one person who threw the rock. Three were arrested. I mean, I don't know what you do. I don't know what did they know? I guess we'll find out. Did they know he was going to throw a rock? Like, was because they had thrown a number of rocks. Did they have a whole bunch of boulders in the back seat? I think it was an Explorer they were driving in. So did they have a whole bunch of rocks? Did they premeditate this whole thing? I don't know, but we're going to find out in court because two of these kids are going to turn on the one kid that threw the rock. That kid's going to jail. I think they're all probably going to jail. One of them's going to jail for a long time. Hold on. Sorry, now I'm getting hiccups. I knew that was happening. Hey, look at this. We're not even almost done with what I've prepared for today, and it's already 2 o'clock. So you're going to get 2+ hours of me hiccuping, which is awesome. Oops, excuse me. JBM says, my first new car. I was driving and some jerk kids threw cinder blocks at my car. Luckily, it hit on the passenger side, but did a lot of damage, and they were never caught. Yeah, man, that sucks. Nobody ever threw a rock at my car. I've been hit with snowballs, because karma, you know. About 5 years ago. No, this would have had to have been about 3 years ago because it was just before I came here. I was working during the pandemic and all that. I was working a pizza place in my neighborhood was deemed essential, so I decided that I would go work there. Palermo's, baby, Palermo's, Tinley Park. And we were busy. I am telling you, man, doing everything at that place. I mean, carry out pizza during the pandemic was a 24-hour business. It was just we were cranking. And I remember I was out on a night that we were particularly busy. And we're old school Chicago pizza, okay? We don't do the apps, all right? We don't do the Uber Eats. We don't do that. You want a fucking pizza delivered to your house, you call the pizza restaurant and a dude from the restaurant will be over. That's how it works. That may have changed in the 2 years since I've been gone, but back then it was like, yeah. Did you call the pizza place? Come on. Pretend it's 1975. You pick up the phone, you call the pizza place, you order. And we were cranking. But I do remember driving during a snowstorm, going through a neighborhood in Tinley Park, Illinois, and looking for an address. And as I'm going really slow looking for the address, I just get pummeled by like 10 neighborhood kids. They jump out from behind a snowbank and just start wailing on my car with these snowballs. And it was funny because, I had done that my whole life growing up. So I didn't get out and chase them. I had pizza and I had a pocket full of money. So, you didn't want to, I wanted to get back to the place with everything intact. So I didn't engage, but I did think it was funny. I was like, oh, look at me. Now I'm the old man getting out of the car. You damn kids! Hitting cars with snowballs that just break in a cloud of dust before doing any real damage. That's fine. That's Midwestern 101. Throwing cinder blocks at speeding cars on the highway is different. Police said that they are looking into reports that this is a form of some kind of social media challenge. So maybe other teenagers will. Well, let's publicize this story and let's make sure that other I'll tell you this, at 3:30 this afternoon, I'm calling my son. I'm going to say, You know about this stupid social media thing? And if he doesn't, then I'll say, you don't throw rocks at cars, asshole. Like, I yell at him. I pre-yell at him. Like, before he does something. It's just the way I parent. Before he does something, I tell him not to do it, and then I yell at him like he's already done it. To which he says, okay, calm down. I guess it's the only way that I can convey that I'm serious. I pre-punish him. But my kid wouldn't do that. Honestly, my kid wouldn't do that. Oh, God, do I sound like every stupid parent? Not my kid. Oh, God. I told it for the first time in my life. I get that. For the first time in my life, I get all of the parents throughout my lifetime that have said, not my kid. I totally get where they're at when they say that. Because I can imagine this. Anyway, let's take a look at these people. Want to see these dirtbags? Oh, God. Hiccups are really starting to bug me, man. All right. I'm a mess. I'm a mess, but I'm getting better. Right? That's something. That's good. Look at me. I wasn't even looking. Here's how I know I'm getting better. I wasn't even looking for an excuse to get out early. I wasn't. It's 2:05. We've now been doing 2 solid hours of this. This is great. I hope you're enjoying it. I am. All right, here we go. So first of all, let's show you the beautiful Alexis. She is the young lady whose life was taken. The young lady who has a father who is looking to murder 3 17-year-olds right now. There she is. Look at her. She's just driving home. She's just driving home, probably in her little piece of shit car. 20 years old. She's probably listening to some South Korean boy band. She's bopping along, and then she's dead. That's life. That's life. Maybe she was texting with her boyfriend. I'm going to stop at Burger King. You know, something like that. And boom, she's dead. She's dead. And why is she dead? She's dead because of these 3. Ready? Look at these guys. Oh, yeah. Look at these fuck sticks. Seriously. Oh, I don't know what to do. They're 17. They're 17. See, I'm not a terrible person. The hell is that? That's a pop-up. All right. There we go. Where was I? All right, let's look at these guys. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, you gotta be freaking kidding me. All right, so let's just look at these 3. All right, so first of all, what's going on with the hairline on the one on the right? Okay, look at that. That dude is already bald. He's 17 years old. He's already bald. That dude can't wear that hairstyle. That dude right now has to get really buff and shave his head down like he's a state champion swimmer or something like that, because that is not a good look. That is a poor choice. You got to lose that hair. That hair has betrayed him. He can't. The forehead, look at that forehead. That's a 7 head. That's not a 4 head. That's not a 5 head. That's not a 6 head. That is a 7 head on that inbred mountain freak. All right. So we got him. I don't know who he is. Oh, that's Joseph Koenig. Okay. All right. That's Joseph Koenig. All right. The guy in the middle looks like trouble. The guy in the middle looks like he's already murdered people. The guy in the middle looks scary as fuck. The guy in the middle looks like somebody in 5 years, he's going to be the bad guy in like a new season of Fargo, right? He'll be like the crazed Indian blood assassin who knows like all of these. Yeah, that's trouble. All right, so that dude's name is Zachary Quack. There he is, Zachary Quack. And then the other guy is Nicholas Carroll Chick. Just looking at these people, here's what I think. I think that 7-head threw the rock. Here's why I think 7-head threw the rock. I think 7-head threw the rock because 7-head's dealing with being a 7-head. 7-head doesn't have girlfriends. Girlfriends look at his hairline and they go, oh, you're already bald. You're like 17 years old. So he's working through some stuff. He's working through like, who am I? What is my place in this pecking order? I can't get laid. So maybe I just got to be something else. So he's trying to be interesting because he's trying to detract attention away from the 7-head. which is difficult because it's the only thing you see. Again, shave it, get buff, state champion swimmer. Do that. Cosplay that role. It'll, trust me, as far as dating, it'll be much better for you. So I think he threw it. I think that dude threw it because because of his 7 head, he's probably the most impressionable. I think the dude on the left, Nicholas Carroll Chick, I think he was driving. I think maybe his dad's Bronco or Explorer or whatever they said it was. I think he was driving. So I think that 7 head is in the back seat. And I'm telling you, dude in the middle is why it all happened. Dude in the middle is who suggested it to dumbass throwing rocks. Dumbass on the right. Dude in the middle wasn't going to throw. See, I told you, he's a fucking arch criminal. Dude in the middle is an arch criminal. I'm just looking at him. He looks not good. First of all, they all look terrible. You know, you got 7 head. You got Aspen Frankenstein, and then you've got, crazy Fargo character who's going to kill like a dozen people in one fell swoop. So that's my breakdown of this. I think 7 head threw the rock. I think crazy guy in the middle talk 7 head into throwing the rock. It'd be cool, man. People won't talk about your 7 head so much. That's probably what he said. And then the other dude was just driving. I hope they all go to jail. But, 17 years old, I don't hope they all go to jail for life. I really don't. And I hope they don't go to jail long enough that they can't actually get some help, because there's a good chance that they all go to jail and then they just turn into career criminals and they're out in 6 years because, they were minors when it happened, so you can't keep them forever. And now we've released 26-year-old monsters who have already done something insane. I don't know. What do you do with 17-year-olds? Try them as an adult. Nah, man, I don't like that. I don't like the trying as an adult, because when I think about who I was at 20 years old, this is what happens with age. You can actually look back at yourself at different stages. You could say, who was I at 30? Who was I at 20? I was not a bad. I don't think that at any of my stages I was ever a bad person. I think that I was always pretty much a good dude, But I did some silly stuff when I was a kid. I made some really bad decisions when I was a kid. Why? Because kids don't see downfield. Kids do not see what happens next. Kids live in the moment. So kids do things for the attention of the moment, not thinking about what happens tomorrow. What happens when, oh, man, he was crazy. We were at this party at Cindy's house, and he just put his head right through her dad's wall, man. It was crazy. He's nuts. He's crazy. And then the next day, you're in trouble because you put your head through a wall at a party you weren't supposed to be at, and now that parent is calling this parent. You know what I mean? They don't think about what happens next. They think about the glory. So I don't know. And, I guess there's an argument. Well, they should have. Yeah, they should have. In a perfect world, they should have. They should have thought this is not a good thing. But we don't live in a perfect world. And I'm uncomfortable just like trashing their lives for the next 50 years. They're 17 years old, man. I don't know. It's difficult. And this is why I'm glad I'm not in this world, because I wouldn't want to make these decisions. But all I can say is that right now, these are some dirtbags, and I hope they get in a whole lot of trouble. There's no bringing back that pretty little girl. There's no doing that. So, there must be a major penalty paid. But I just don't know if, life or... I don't know about that. I don't know. Anyway, it's very complicated. 17, man. 17-year-olds are some of the most dangerous people on the planet. 17-year-old boys, man. Oh.
Incredibly grateful this morning.
Okay. 17, I drove drunk. 17, I didn't really do anything bad, but I'm a bad example because I had incidents, but I was never like somebody who did, I never broke into a store, stole a car, or, raped a girl, a date rape. I never had any of that nonsense. I had dumb shit. dumb shit when I was 17. And I would really hate to think that my entire life could be defined by my actions at 17. But sometimes they are. And I think that these three guys, they're on the precipice of their entire life being thrown away and defined by what they did in that moment. Because old Sevenhead got talked into it by Indian Joe or whoever his buddy was. I don't know. That's a really sad story. Cancun. Cancun is trending. Cancun is trending because a whole bunch of bodies are turning up. 8 bodies have turned up in and around resorts in Cancun, on the grounds, in the woods that surround them. It's cartels. It's that whole thing. So the Mexican government is saying that they're going to fix this. And the American government is saying, we're going to put Cancun on a travel advisory. And the Mexican government's like, don't do that. Don't do that. We'll clean it up. We promise. We need your big Yankee dollars down here. We need your Yankee tourism dollars. We need you to be comfortable spending $20 for a margarita at Carlos and Charlie's. And you're going there, why? Because I thought your resort was all inclusive. You could have that mark, but no, you're going to go out and you're going to spend money. So they need to clean up Cancun. You can't have 8 bodies turning up in Cancun. I mean, it's music to Cozumel's ear, you know. Maybe Playa del Carmen is happy about it. You know, who knows? Acapulco wants to spread the story of the 8 bodies being found in Cancun. Cancun doesn't want that. Cancun wants to keep people coming. Excuse me. Fake doctor. Fake doctor is another story that's trending here today. So apparently, how does this happen? I am broke. Like I struggle. There's no way to romanticize, you know, what it is that I do. I'm lucky in that I found something that I love to do that I don't consider work, and I'm tragically unlucky in the fact that I can't pay my bills doing it. And because of who I am in the lens that I live my life through, I put a premium on quality of life over. Are you ready? Yeah, I don't want to go into this. I'm happy. You know, that's like the most important. The standard of living is not as important to me and never has been. Standard of living has never been important to me. Quality of life is important to me. If I can be, now again, this goes back to all, you know, depression and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I realized a number of years ago that we could all just drop dead at any minute. And if that's pretty much in the cards, you know, I don't think my dad lived past 25, you know, so we can all, I've had friends drop in the last couple of years. My quality of life is not determined by the $100,000 sports car that I drive, right? It never was. Like I never was that guy. But my friends, they all look at me and they're like, how can you be comfortable like that? I go, because I'm happy. Because you know what? That's the most important thing. And it really is the most important thing. Just be happy, because so many of us are just so miserable. But when I think about my position, I also think, why can't I be a con man? Like, why can't I be a quality of life being what it is? Why can't I don't have to completely sell out to a standard of living expectation? I don't, you know. If I was a con man, and I've got schemes, if I was willing to like actually be this person, I'd be a great con man. And here's a great con man. There was a dude in California who opened up a medical practice, and he started treating people and doing lab tests and all that stuff, and he ain't a doctor. He ain't a doctor. He never has been. He's not board certified. He just opened up a medical place in like a nice suburban area. This isn't one of these dudes that's operating out of a you-store-it facility, right? This isn't some guy who, you know, takes appointments in his apartment. This is a guy with a medical facility, like anyone that you'd see. You know, you're driving down Preston Avenue and you see like a doc in a box or whatever. He's got one of these, and he's not a doctor. And he's giving people advice, and he's hiring nurses and stuff like that. A California man has been charged with impersonating a doctor. He's accused of having treated thousands of patients over the years, some of them for cancer. But here's the problem. as one might expect, he wasn't a very good doctor because he's not a doctor. That's why he wasn't a very good doctor. Practicing medicine without a license is not only a criminal activity in California, it can cause irreparable harm to the health of unsuspecting people, you don't say, who believe they are under the care of a licensed physician. Dude's name is Stefan Gevorkian. 44-year-old Stefan Gevorkian. Is that like Albanian, Armenian, or something like that? Gevorkian. Practicing medicine without a license is not only a criminal activity in California, it can cause irreparable harm. Gevorkian is accused of practicing medicine without a license on thousands of individuals for several years. Here, let me show you where this guy was operating out of so you don't think, you think this must be real shady, right? Look at this place. He was a member of the community. Dude, okay. What the? What is going on here? What? Ad block, and so I can't. There we go. All right. I can't show this site because, why is that? Look at this. This is where he was working out of. I would go to this place. If I lived in this area and this was in on my corner or something, I would go get medical attention at Pathways. Place looks nice. It's got a cool sign. It looks legit. I would assume that the dude in the white jacket standing in there greeting me when I walk through the door is a real doctor. He's not. Gevorkian owns and operates Pathways Medical in Hollywood. Prosecutors said the business performs blood tests, advises patients about treatments, and offers treatments for cancer, viral infections, and other conditions. On November 17th, an undercover investigator received consultation from Gevorkian. During the consultation, Gevorkian failed to recognize abnormal levels of a hormone that could indicate a serious medical condition. The Division of Investigation of the State Department of Consumer Affairs. Oh, these fucking names. Seriously. The Division of Investigation of the State Department of Consumer Affairs and the District Attorney's Office, Consumer Protection Division for Commercial Infraction. Why? Seriously. Why do you need to have all these names? Gevorkian's office could not immediately be reached for comment. His attorney also could not be reached. That's not good. When the attorney is like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on here, so I'm not going to say anything until, Well, there you have it. All right, fake doctor, phony doctor. We see these stories. We hear them a lot. And coming up, there's another interesting fake doctor, at least reference that I'm going to make coming up in a story. Again, we've heard about the guys who operate, shady without an actual office and all that kind of stuff. And now they're more prevalent than ever because of the doctor shopping thing, right? This is you can doctor shop and you can find, actually, I'll save this for another conversation because there's a whole conversation about doctor shopping that we can have with a story that's coming up. So in the meantime, let's see here. What else do we got? Oh, ageism is trending. Ageism is trending because people are saying Joe Biden's too old. I agree. Completely agree. But then you can't vote for Trump. You get that, right? You get it. Let's all agree. These guys are too old, okay? We need younger people. We need fresh blood. We need new ideas. We need people who are tethered to the modern world. I'm sorry, but I don't believe Joe Biden or Donald Trump is tethered to the modern world. Joe Biden's stance on the legalization of marijuana alone tells me that his mind is still in 1975 looking at a bunch of dirty hippies. That's Joe Biden. We don't need that. We need somebody, what we need? We need a president. Well, we had one. Remember Bill Clinton? Oh, God. If you didn't know that Bill Clinton was a con man after 8 years in office, when he said, I smoked weed, but I didn't inhale. If you didn't go, that fucker's a liar. That is a lying sack of shit right there. That's some bullshit. Oh, but he said it just because that's what had to be said then. No. What should be said all the time out of a president or somebody who wants to represent the people of America is the truth. In 92, I think, when he was running. In 1992, if he had said, Yeah. I came up through the 70s. You know, I've smoked pot. I don't particularly like it. It's not my thing. But yeah, absolutely. That would have been the answer. And that answer in 92 would have fucking moved the ball of acceptance. It would have accelerated the process, I believe, by at least a decade. But that didn't happen because he still fucking demonized it. I didn't inhale, so I'm not a bad person. Fuck you, you inhaled. That's so stupid. So I'm going to vote for a president who's too dumb to figure out how to fucking smoke pot? You didn't inhale right? You're fucking an idiot. Honestly, if that's your excuse. Anyway, ageism, back to ageism. Biden's too old. And then people on the lefties are all like, ageism? Yeah, well, look, it's not about ageism. I mean, it's about being in the modern world, and it's about your influences, and it's about how you see the world, and it's about how you understand what's happening. I don't believe that people who have been out of... we need younger people. Like, I can't go... I don't know what else to say. I think you all know what I'm saying. I mean, Jesus Christ, my grandpa was probably younger than Joe Biden is now, and we used to panic when he reached for the remote. We're like, oh, geez, oh, God, now it's going to be 5 minutes of him trying to change the channel. So there are just certain things in the modern world that maybe we ought to lead to, I don't know, people under 75. That's fine. After 75, you don't need to. And I'd even go lower, but, you know... A lot of lefties are like, Joe Biden's only 6 months older than Mick Jagger. That's what they're saying. Joe Biden's only 6 months older than Mick Jagger. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that means. What am I supposed to do with that? Yeah, Mick Jagger looks like an old dude. And he's out there and he's jumping around. And so, okay, all right. I mean, quite frankly, that's where the comparisons end. I mean, I've seen footage of Mick Jagger recently on stage, and it's like, wow, that's a dude that's only 6 months younger than Joe Biden. And then I've seen Joe Biden try to get off a bicycle. So it's like, stop with the comparisons, okay? People lead different lives. Whatever it is that Mick Jagger has been doing to prepare himself for a life of endless touring and stage performances is much different than what Joe Biden has done taking a train from Delaware to Washington every day for 30 years. So ageism. Ageism is being discussed. I'll tell you, it's a funny thing. The really old people that we have today, I was thinking about this recently. I love old people. I really do. I love hanging out with old people. I love talking to old people. You know, they're no filter. They don't give any fucks anymore. They're really honest people. You can really, if you want to know who a person really is, wait till they're 75 to have a conversation with them, because they will give you the real on who they are. The good, the bad, whatever. And I love that. I love being around old people. I love talking to them. I want to do a podcast where every day we go to a different nursing home and we just talk to these old people and get their fucking great stories, because everybody's got great stories. But here's what I'm worried about, because I'm getting close to being an old person, and there's like a generation ahead of me that aren't old people yet, but they're like, you know, within a year or 2 or 3 of being old, you know? Man, these are the last of the good old people. I really do. I feel that this is like the old people that we have now, the ones that were hippies, the ones that came through the 60s, those people who saw all of that. These are the last of the good ones. Like, if you're 65 or 67 right now, you're a piece of shit. We're going to have some really bad old people in the next couple of years. Ain't nobody going to want to talk to any of these fucking people, because these people are just broken. So I guess what I'm trying to say is hug your grandma. Hug your grandma and have a conversation with her, because I'm telling you, we are running out of decent old people. The next generation of old people that's going to take over, they're going to suck. These people are going to suck. The old people we got now, you know, their worldview was informed by the likes of Cronkite and Carson. The old people we're about to get are Alex Jones and Tucker. I mean, they're going to suck. These old people are going to be terrible. My generation of old people ain't going to be any better either. We're going to be bad too. We're a bad generation. I had so much hope for Generation X. And, as it turns out, we really are just slackers who do nothing. Ezra Miller is trending today. Ezra Miller is trending because, we covered Ezra Miller, the actor who, nobody knows. He's not famous. He's not like a big A-lister. He's famous for being a fuck-up. Ezra Miller got in a whole bunch of trouble, in Hawaii, arrested, a whole bunch of times, and then broke into a house in, the East Coast. He's got shit, man. He's bipolar. He has some mental issues. And he's not dealing with them properly, so he's acting up. Now, this was a big deal because he's the Flash, and the Flash was next up to be one of these big superhero movies that was going to be released. So everybody's talking over the past year about Ezra Miller, is he going to be the Flash? Well, he's the Flash. Yeah, they just all went, well, you know what? We've got so much invested in him, and he didn't kill anybody. He's just mayhem. He's just causing trouble. So they made the Flash movie. And early reviews and some early screenings have already gone on the new Flash movie starring Ezra Miller. And would you believe what do you think? What do you think the initial reviews for the Ezra Miller led Flash movie are? I mean, how could they even control him on this set? I have no idea. He's obviously a problem. Would you be surprised to learn that the reviews are spectacular? They did a secret screening for a bunch of critics and some viewers, some audience members, and it was done in secret, and the film wasn't even completely filmed, but they did it over the weekend. And they allowed, after the film, people to tweet and, Instagram or whatever, their thoughts on what they had just seen. And as far as the professional critics who were in the audience, the critics were also allowed to tweet, but the critics were not allowed to actually publish a review. There's an embargo on reviews until the film is finished. But almost to a man, everybody said this movie is incredible. Ezra Miller be damned. He might be on his way to becoming a very big star, because that's one of the things that everybody pointed out. How incredible Ezra Miller is, the crazy dude, how incredible he is as the Flash. First reactions to the Flash starring Ezra Miller. This is ABC News reporting. The words impressive and awesome were common refrains from a group of entertainment reporters who were among the first to see the upcoming DC superhero movie, The Flash. The words impressive and awesome were common. Warner Brothers screened the film for the first time at CinemaCon. I'm sorry, this was Tuesday. This was just yesterday. For theater owners, exhibitors, and reporters attending the annual trade show and industry conference. Reviews are officially embargoed. The film, the studio said, is not completely finished, but viewers were able to post reactions on social media as soon as the credits rolled. Brian Welk of IndieWire wrote that it played very well to the crowd, pointing out that there were more than a few screams and gasps in the packed theater. Film critic Jonathan Hoffman tweeted that it was far more madcap than I expected. They really nailed what reading a 5-issue crossover comic book is like. I don't know what that means, but apparently comic book people might. Tons of Ezra Miller being zany and time paradox stuff. Nerds will absolutely lose their minds at the ending of The Flash. These are all incredible reviews for a movie that 9 months ago they were like, we should just put it up on blocks and recast and start over. The playlist Greg Elwood wrote that The Flash was, quote, very good, and that Miller was, quote, great. While Scott Mantz went a step further, declaring that it's one of the very best DC movies, a perfect blend of action, heart, and humor, and Ezra Miller is a star. What? Okay. Ezra Miller was crazy when he basically had no clout, when he was just a guy who was... Now he's about to be a star? Eric Davis of Fandango wrote, it's tremendous in that it is, quote, without a doubt among the best superhero films ever made. The Flash from DC is an all-timer. All right. Look, I liked Ezra Miller as the Flash in the small pieces of other DC movies that we've seen. So this is the first time that we're going to see him carrying a film on his own. I mean, he was great. He was before he was Ezra Miller, the weird, gender fluid, bipolar guy out there starting fights. Before he was that, he was just that guy we'd never seen before, playing the Flash, who was really good at playing the Flash. Can't take that away from him. He was good. He was funny. He played the role well. And now it looks like he's gonna be a star. It looks like, that Bad Behavior. Yeah, he's big at the box office. So there you go. The Flash, early reviews are in. They're saying it is great. Keanu Reeves is trending. Keanu Reeves is trending because of an incident that went viral from a signing that he was at. I want to show it to you. I want to show it to you because, Keanu Reeves, it's funny. Dude played, Jesus, it is like a sunny day out now. Is all the rain gone? Is that it? It is like sunny and beautiful out now. What's the current temperature? Let me see what we're working with here. Yeah, I'm fully aware that I've given you 2.5 hours. And we're still going, bitches. Come on. All right, Keanu Reeves. So I wanted 58. It's 50. It says it's 58 right now. Okay, all right. With like 90% humidity. So I'm like a little hot. I'm like, how can I be hot at 58 degrees? Anyway. Keanu Reeves is trending because of a viral video that went public. He's John Wick, he's Neo from The Matrix. Maybe he's from Bill and Ted, whatever. Speed, the guy from Speed. I met Keanu Reeves in 1996. 1996, I spent a morning with him. He was, do you remember when Keanu Reeves had a band? Keanu Reeves was in a band, an alt-rock band. And he started a band, and what were they called? What was his band called? I don't know. They weren't terrible. They were fine. They were absolutely fine. And if you remember 1996 was basically the early days of the alternative music format. The alternative music format had begun in the early 90s, but it had, not really caught its stride until Nirvana, and boom, suddenly alternative radio is everywhere. So I was working at a station called Q101, which was one of the first alternative stations in America. And we had Keanu Reeves coming in with his alternative rock band. We're going to play him. We're the biggest alternative music station in the Midwest. There were three. There was the one in LA, that was the first one. And then there was the one in Chicago, that was the second one. And then New York was the third. So they had three in the three biggest markets. One was supposed to be the alternative powerhouse in the Midwest. One was on the West Coast and one was on the East Coast. So that's who we were. That was our identity. So Keanu Reeves wanted to be played on our radio station because he wanted his music to sell. So he came in and he spent a morning with us, with his band. And they played some songs. And like I said, they were fine. They were absolutely fine. If you had walked in sight unseen to them in a bar, you'd be like, this band's good. This band's good. It's that kind of a deal. I don't know if they're Pearl Jam, whatever, but, there's a lot of area there to be a really good band. And I don't remember even any songs or anything, but I remember at the time going, that's not bad. Actually, this is a real band. I feel like this is real. And we just had In Excess in here last week, and it's the same vibe. It's like, this is a real band. So his publicists, it was a big deal because Keanu Reeves was a huge star, right? He was a big movie star then. And his Hollywood publicists, and I was the executive producer and sidekick on the show, so I had to deal with all these people. I had to set it up. His publicists were the absolute worst. I mean, it's probably why I enjoyed watching Entourage years later, because that is exactly what I dealt with Ari Gold or whatever. These people talking to me from Hollywood. You all right? Keanu's going to come in a back way. Keanu is not to be greeted by anybody. We have a tendency to have crowds of people whenever Keanu comes in. And if Keanu does pass by people, nobody is to say hello to him. Just act like he's invisible. Do you understand me? We will pull this in a minute if Keanu gets uncomfortable. Keanu is a very sensitive artist. Yeah, I'm getting all of this on the phone. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. What a prick this fucking guy is. Dumbass Bill and Ted Keanu Reeves. I was fucking pissed at him because of his publicists, because of the people who set this up. I just assumed. Keanu Reeves shows up and he's basically floating on air like a fucking angel. This dude, he walked in the front door. He walked up to the receptionist. The band had arrived earlier. The band was already set up. Dude walks in the front door of the radio station and walks right up to the receptionist, some little girl, doing her thing. She looks up and it's fucking Keanu Reeves standing right there. Talks to her. They call me immediately. I come get him from the green or from the front. And I'm like, Keanu, I'm so sorry. My name's Pugs. I'm the executive producer. Thank you so much for doing this. Dude put his arm around me as we were walking down the hallway. Put his arm around me and he said, hey man, I'm so sorry I didn't show up with the band. I got lost. We're staying at different hotels, and I don't like people driving me around in the city, so I just like to, I like to get... Everything that his publicists said about Keanu Reeves was fucking bullshit when you actually met the man. I described him, and I used this on Twitter. I mentioned this on Twitter yesterday, because when I saw this going viral, I commented on it. The word that we used after Keanu Reeves left the studio with his band, the word that we used to describe Keanu Reeves, and we came up with this on the spot. I think it was Bill Leff who came up with it. Monkish. He was monkishly kind. You know what that means? Like a monk, like everything was for everyone else's benefit. He was not a star in the least. He didn't want people waiting. His publicists put all of that shit out there. So I'm like, this guy's a fucking dick. And what I've realized over time, do you remember how Keanu Reeves, for the first 10, 15 years of his career, he was just lampooned as this incredibly dumb guy? Like, oh, Keanu Reeves, man, I'm so stupid. Remember, it was like Keanu Reeves was a dumb guy. Oh, what are you, a real Keanu Reeves? He's not a dumb guy. He's just an incredibly kind guy. And I think people misinterpret that. He's not a talker. He's not gabby, but I don't get it. Anyway, so this video went viral and I'm watching this video and this is 20 something years, 24, 25, 26, 27 years later. This is Keanu Reeves 27 years later. I want to show you this viral video because the energy and the vibe that he puts out on this video is exactly the same thing that he was in 1996. Fucking love this guy. And he's not one of these Hollywood stars who's like, I'm out on a red carpet, I'm giving an interview. He's not me glory. Dude just does the work. Bill and Ted, Speed, The Matrix, John Wick. This MFer is probably one of the most bankable stars in the history of Hollywood in a career that is now almost 40 years old. So let me show you this video of Keanu Reeves. And this is absolutely, I'm like, yeah, that's on brand. This is totally Keanu Reeves. First of all, Keanu Reeves, I mentioned all that, right? I mentioned Speed, Bill and Ted's, The Matrix, and John Wick. I mentioned all of those. John Wick, Keanu Reeves, Neo, is doing a signing for fans. He's sitting at a table. One of the biggest movie stars in history don't sit at a table and sign memorabilia for fans. They don't do it. They don't have to. Maybe 10 years after their star has faded and they've got a book out, they'll go and they'll do a book signing. There'll be a big long line. Stars of the level. John Wick. Nobody even asks John Wick if he'd sit for a signing, right? They'd be like, well, there's no way that's going to happen. He's a super A-lister. He is not going to sit. Well, this video, first of all, Keanu Reeves is signing for kids. He's sitting at a thing and he's signing for kids. All right, let's show you this. Again, I can talk about how impressive Keanu Reeves was as a human being for hours. But let's just watch this. This is who he is. This is Keanu Reeves at a he's at a signing. Keanu Reeves doesn't sign. He's at a signing, and he's having a little one-on-one with a fan, and the fan's mother captured it on video and then tweeted it because she was like, I can't believe how fucking amazing Keanu Reeves is. Here it is.
I'm such a big fan.
What's your name?
Noah. My name is Noah.
Hi, Noah. I'm Keanu.
You're probably my favorite actor in the whole world.
Oh my gosh,
You're the
Noah,
best.
thank you. Did you see Duke Kaboom in Toy Story 4?
Yeah, he's my favorite character.
Canada's greatest stuntman! Well, I'm glad you liked it. I really liked playing Duke Kaboom.
I'm such a big fan.
What's your name?
Noah. My name is Noah.
Hi, Noah. I'm Keanu.
Just look at the unvarnished love and kindness. This isn't bullshit, unless he's the greatest actor on the planet, and he might be. But this is a real human being. Look at him. He's staring dead in this kid's eyes. This isn't a chore for Keanu Reeves to spend the next couple of minutes entertaining some kid who's saying stuff like, yeah, my favorite, right? You know how many actors would be like, all right, kid, let me sign. All right, great. Yeah, picture? Fake smile. Okay, next. Fucking Keanu Reeves is connecting with this little boy. And this little boy is nervous as shit. You can hear it in his voice. And Keanu is doing everything to make this kid feel comfortable. That's not a skill. That's just something as a human being you either have the ability to do or you don't. And there are so many who don't. And this guy, again, I saw this. I had a brief 35, 40-minute interaction with Keanu Reeves 27 years ago. And it has informed me my entire life since that Keanu Reeves is a goddamn angel of a human being.
Keanu.
You're probably my favorite actor in the whole world.
Oh my gosh,
You're the
Noah,
best.
thank you. Did you see Duke Kaboom in Toy Story 4?
Yeah, he's my favorite character.
Canada's greatest stuntman! Well, I'm glad you liked it. I really liked playing Duke Kaboom.
There you go. Just an incredibly kind and decent and loving man. And because we're all awful sons of bitches for 20 years, we just assumed he's a fucking stupid pothead. There was never any indication that he was a pothead other than maybe Bill and Ted. No indication that he was stupid other than maybe Bill and Ted. But that's how we define this guy. This guy's a wonderful dude. All right, there you go. I just thought that was so nice. And by the way, that kid... That kid is changed forever now. That kid, see, man, it's hard. When obviously this kid loves Keanu Reeves, loves the John Wick. My kid's 13. He loves Keanu Reeves, loves The Matrix, loves John Wick. It's a big moment for that kid. I mean, even if Keanu Reeves had been a dick, that kid goes to the schoolyard and tells all of his friends, I met Keanu Reeves. It's a big defining moment in this kid's childhood. And to have the dude be like that, Jesus, I'm surprised Keanu didn't go out to dinner with him. It seems so wonderful. All right. Also, I wanted to talk about this. This is trending. It was trending last night. And it is trending now, so it does deserve mention. So we will talk about this. And I'll give a review. I will give a review. John Mulaney is trending. I love John Mulaney. I think John Mulaney I think John Mulaney is the best. There are a couple. There's John Mulaney, Bill Burr, and Sebastian Maniscalco. They are the three stand-up comedians who are doing a classic form of stand-up as good as anyone who's ever done it. They're just that strong. Bill Burr is so strong. Sebastian Maniscalco is just, talk about a guy who can control a crowd. Unbelievable. And this guy, John Mulaney. I think that John Mulaney is just, first of all, his writing is brilliant. I love him as a writer. John Mulaney started out as a writer on Saturday Night Live. He was in the writer's room forever, and he tried desperately to get on the air as a cast member, and Lorne Michaels never saw it. Lorne Michaels needs to go. Lorne Michaels needs to go. The list of megastars that Lorne Michaels has said, nah, I don't see it, is ridiculous. And it includes everybody from Dave Chappelle to Michael Keaton to, I mean, over the years, Lorne Michaels has dropped the ball a bunch of times. John Mulaney couldn't get on camera. I don't know, for some reason they didn't want him. So he became the head writer for a period of time. The funniest character in my view, the funniest single character in the history of Saturday Night Live was created by John Mulaney. And that is, of course, Bill Hader's Stefan. Remember Stefan from, Stefan, he'd come on the news and he'd talk about New York's hottest new club. That whole thing. Well, that turns out that was a character that John Mulaney was doing. Like, that was a character, like, whenever they'd go out, like, we're going to a club, he would turn into Stefan, and he would give his reviews of clubs. And Bill Hader thought it was really funny, and he said, you know what, let's develop that. I can play that as a character. And John Mulaney was like, yeah, it's kind of my character, though. I don't know if I want to give it to you. You do it once on TV, and now Stefan is Bill Hader forever. So anyway, he was overlooked at Saturday Night Live. So he walks out of Saturday Night Live. This is when the ascension of Colin Jost began. That's a story, too. That's a podcast story. John Mulaney and Colin Jost are not close. They are not close. They are not friends. I believe the head writer's room, I think it went Seth Meyers. It went Tina Fey to Seth Meyers. Tina Fey to Seth Meyers. To John Mulaney, to Colin Jost. Was that it? I think that's the order of the head writer at Saturday Night Live. Anyway, he couldn't get on the air. So he leaves Saturday Night Live for a Fox sitcom deal because Fox apparently, saw his stuff and he pitched him, and Fox went, I don't know what Lorne doesn't see in you, but we're going to give you a sitcom. So he goes from being an absolute nobody to being the star of Mulaney, which is a show on Fox, which was a really good show. That show was funny. That was the first time that I ever really saw him. I'm like, this guy's funny. This show is funny. And of course it bombed. It bombed. Nobody watched it because nobody knew who he was. So it bombed. So then he just goes out and he starts becoming a stand-up comedian. And over the course of the next 5 years, John Mulaney polishes his stand-up act to a razor's edge. He is doing it at the highest level. As it turns out, John Mulaney was also doing cocaine at the highest level. He was so John Mulaney over the last year, there's been a lot of stories. He into rehab, there was an intervention, all of his Hollywood friends got together and tricked him, and they sent him to rehab. And then he got Olivia Munn pregnant, and they had a baby. And then Olivia Munn was like, I don't want to be with a coke addict. So they broke up like a week later after the baby was born. I don't know. It's just so weird. Just very weird. He was in and out of the press for a bunch of really weird things. Not Ezra Miller weird, but, like, oh my God, this guy's life is kind of out of control. And if you go back and if you watch any of his old stand-up specials, Netflix has them all, and they're all spectacular. If you go back and watch any of his older stand-up specials, and now you know that he was a raging cokehead, you can see it. Because I went back last night, and I watched Kid Gorgeous, which is a good stand-up special that he has. And I just watched like the first 5 minutes or so because my assumption was that he would have done a bump just before he went on stage. So I wanted to see the energy, and I wanted to see... Yeah, it was there. Once you know that he was a raging cokehead and you watch the way he was doing his comedy and the twitchiness and all that, you're like, yeah, there it is. I see it. So why is he trending today? Now that we've done all the context on John Mulaney, why is he trending today? He's trending today because he's got a new Netflix special. It debuted last night on Netflix. What's it called? What's the new special called? Let's just put John Mulaney in there. It's a fun name. It is a fun name. Baby J. Well, Baby J is his nickname. So the new special is called Baby J. But then there's like another. It's like Baby J hyphen, and then it's like whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting. It's some term from rehab. We're going to have an uncomfortable conversation or something like that. It's something like that. Anyway, it's a clever name. Not clever enough for me to remember it. So the new John Mulaney special debuted last night on Netflix. And I did not do the show last night because I felt sick. I was not good last night. So I think James and he did the Pillow Talk show, the 9 p.m. stream, without me. I was in the chat room for the first 20 minutes, but then I was like, okay, this is why I didn't want to do the show. I'm going to bed. So I climbed into bed and I figured, you know what? I'll lay here. I'm probably going to be asleep in the next 20 minutes. I will lay here and I will watch this new John Mulaney special and I will fall asleep. Nope, bad plan. Because as soon as he started talking on this new special, I was like, okay, I'm up. I want to hear this. This new special, Baby J, from beginning to end is all about all the shit he went through over the past 2 years. And it is done and told in a narrative storytelling way that I don't know that I've ever heard that. Well, that's not fair to say because, Richard Pryor talking about catching himself on fire, that was pretty personal and pretty heavy and pretty compelling content that was also funny. But John Mulaney talking about the level of cokehead that he was and some of the things that he did. The entire special is just him going, and then I bought a $20,000 Rolex and immediately walked across the street and pawned it for $5,000 for coke money. Like those guys. And he goes into details about these stories, about where he was. And it's such a strange juxtaposition because John Mulaney presents himself. You never see him without a suit. You never see him not looking like a 10 out of 10. Handsome, tall, tailored suits, very sophisticated guy, serious, smart, well-bred. That's the vibe that he gives off. And then he's telling these stories about shit that he did. And you're like, whoa, oh my God. And he's so funny. And he's so personal. And he leaves no stone unturned, except for the Olivia Munn stone. He doesn't talk at all about Olivia Munn, which I can understand because that's probably still raw. And they are saving a child. And it's one of the reasons that I would never in any way, shape, or form talk about my son's mom. Not because I know that she would be upset if I referenced her. I'm referencing her now. But because it's just that this is not her world anymore. She signed up for it when we were together, but no, they don't exist. They don't get discussed. And I think that's kind of what he's doing with Olivia Munn, and I completely understand that. I'm like, because it might be a funny bit, but you don't want to have the phone call. And I'm not even certain that I would get a phone call. I'm just saying, it's just good to avoid. Good to leave people who are back in civilian life and not in the public, performing and doing all of that. It's best to leave those people out. So that's what he did with Olivia Munn. But man, he talks in detail. I won't give away any jokes or anything, but I'm going to tell you about the stuff that he talks about. So he opens up on a really dark note. And he talks about grandparents. And then he segues into the night of his intervention. The night that the entire thing came caving in on him. And he talks about, I said I wouldn't give any jokes. He talked about how he was 2 hours late for his intervention because he was trying to score coke. He goes into the story about how, he walks into the intervention, the door opens up, he thinks he's going to a dinner party, and he immediately knew it was an intervention. And his first thought was, I need to go to the bathroom because I got a whole bunch of coke in my pocket and I want to do it. They wouldn't let him go to the bathroom. And he talks about he brags about how it was the most star-studded intervention that you could ever imagine. He starts naming the people that were there in the intervention: Nick Kroll, Fred Armisen, Seth Meyers. He's like, why is Seth Meyers here? Anyway, it's very good. It is very good. And it's so honest, and it's brutally self-revelatory. I mean, he just talks about all of the shit that he fucked up. And there was a funny moment in it where he sort of alludes to the fact that, which is why I went back and watched Kid Gorgeous, or at least the first 10 minutes of it. There's a moment in the new Baby J special where John Mulaney talks about his previous specials, and he says something like, he started out with something really dark, right? That's how he started the show. And he starts to apologize for, I'm sorry, I know we didn't mean to start out with that being dark, but let me tell you, I got some stuff I want to talk about here. So he was basically bracing everybody for what was going to be the story of how he was a desperate, sad cokehead while his professional career was going through the roof. And he says, oh wait, I totally lost my train of thought on that one. What was I going to say? It doesn't matter. Baby J, Baby J, the new John Mulaney. He talks about everything. That's why I wanted to watch it. Oh, I know what it was. So in the transition, he goes, I didn't mean to start out so dark, but, considering what I'm going to be talking about here, I didn't think that it was right for me to come out. And then he does this whole, hello, everybody. He does the whole John Mulaney over the top, high energy, kinetic thing. And then he stops and he goes, that's not me anymore. Or something like that, alluding to the fact that those earlier specials, that was all cocaine. And that this is not going to be like that. It's terrific. It's terrific. It's called Baby J. It's on Netflix. I gave away nothing. I just told you what you can expect. You can expect to hear him talking in brutal detail about all the shit that he went through. Pandemic. Everybody was in a pandemic, and yet, people are zooming in. He's like, I had a 12-person intervention, 6 in the room, 6 on Zoom. And all the people on Zoom were like, oh, we really care about you. And yeah, my response was, not enough to fly in. It was like stuff like that. It's great. You'll enjoy it. Well, I mean, you have to like him already. If you like John Mulaney, then you'll love this special. And if you don't know who he is, I think you're going to have a new favorite comedian because it's terrific. It is just terrific. All of his Netflix specials are terrific. You can't go wrong. And power to him because he's a recovering addict. And obviously he liked cocaine a lot. I mean, he's got some stories, man. He talks about how he didn't have a kid for all these years, and now he's got a kid, and so a baby, an infant, a toddler. So now when he has the kid, he has to go to they're out in public. He tells a story about he's at an art museum, strolling the kid through the art museum, and they have to go to the bathroom to change the diaper, and he uses the koala changing table that's in the bathroom. We have those. You walk into a public restroom, and they have these new koala changing tables that you pull down. And he talks about how he never realized that was for babies. He thought it was just for doing coke off of. He's like, that's it. I thought it was for coke. You can't put a baby on there. That's not safe for a baby. It's very funny. Yeah, anyway, there you go. All right, so that's it. Those are all of the stories that I had prepared here for us to talk about as far as trending. Should I try and go for 3 hours? Sick as a dog. Gonna go to bed, gonna crash for 2 hours. Actually, I gotta stay up for another half hour because I gotta call my kid at 3:30 and tell him, don't throw rocks at cars. Yeah, I gotta do that. Gotta go on record. Gotta go on record. I do that all the time with my kid. I see anything terrible that kids are doing in the news or something like that, I immediately go on record with my kid as saying, hey, don't know if you were thinking about this, but don't eat Tide Pods. Don't eat them. Then I wouldn't eat Tide Pods. That's a thing that stupid kids do. All right, good answer. Go about your business. Remember when Tide Pods were a thing? Yeah. Oh, boy. Let's see. Let's check in on Twitter. Let's see if there's anything new. You guys can inform me. Is there anything that I've missed while I'm sitting here ranting, doing all of this stuff? Let's see here. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to bed. First Lady is trending because it's the beautiful Melania's birthday. You know what the craziest thing about Melania is? You guys aware of this? Have you guys ever seen Melania Trump's dad? Have you ever seen her dad? You know where I'm going with this? Like, have you seen Melania Trump's dad? Let me show you Melania Trump's father. And I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to be like, this is Melania Trump's father. Do you have any thoughts on this? What do you see? All right, here you go. This is crazy. His name is Victor Naves. Victor Naves. All right. You think I'm fucking kidding? You think I'm kidding? You think this is a bit? This is Melania's dad. Are you ready for this? Okay. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Share it. Boom. All right. There you go. That's Melania Trump's dad. I'm not even going to say anything. That's Melania Trump's dad. What are you thinking? Oh, I know exactly what you're thinking. Let's see if there are any other pictures of him. Oh, that's the one I should have gone with. Can you say daddy issues? I mean, come on, man. Melania Trump's dad is on the left and her husband is on the right. That's funny, right? This isn't a political statement. That's funny. That's interesting. There's something going on there. I'm curious as to know how deep that well of daddy issues runs for old Melania. She's trending. It's her birthday. She's a beautiful woman. She married a rich guy. She's got a fucking incredible life. I don't feel like I need to be nice to her. Let's see her. And I still want to know what the deal was with that jacket. Remember she wore that jacket that had that message on it and we all just kind of moved on. I'm like, no, don't move on. What does she mean by that jacket? What did that mean? I need to know. I would love to know. Fleets are trending. Remember fleets? I don't know what fleets are. Fleets were a thing that Twitter did for a while. I have no idea what it is. All right, quickly as we run through here to see if there's anything new that's popping up that's big. Long mirror. Nope. All right, politics. Nope, we're not doing that. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Appreciate you. Let me get this up here. We'll be back tonight. I think I feel right. Well, but then again, I thought I felt good yesterday. I thought yesterday after the show that I felt like I was going to do a 9 p.m. stream. And then around like 8 o'clock, I told the boys, I said, guys, I just want to go to bed. Honestly, I want to stay in bed. I don't want to get up and do a show and talk to you knuckleheads for an hour. And I watched a little bit of it this morning. They're great. What did I think they weren't going to be? James is a pro. James is every bit the pro that I am, so I shouldn't be worried about that. And Amel's a side character in James' wake when James taking charge. So, that's great. I thought it was great. I thought it was interesting. Talked the 105.3. Oh, speaking of the 105.3 project, I have made contact with Val. Val, who, Valerie, big part of the station, 105.3. She'd been very difficult to get a hold of, man. I've been sending her Facebook messages because it's the only way that I have to get a hold of her. And apparently, she might be like me. Like, on my phone, I do not have, like, if I use Facebook, I'm probably using it on my phone. But on my phone, the Facebook Messenger app where you can direct message with people, unlike Twitter, is a completely separate app that I've got to install. And I ain't fucking doing that. I'm not on Facebook at all. So she's probably like me, whereas I sent her this message on online Facebook, and she probably just uses her phone and doesn't have that app or something. And that's how I do. That's why I rarely respond to Facebook messages, because I just don't have the Messenger app on my phone, and I refuse to use it. It's just going to take up space. But Val did contact me, and we've exchanged phone numbers now, so we don't have to do that. And she's very willing to come on and talk. So that'll be a good one. That'll be a big one. Can't wait to talk to Val. Because let me tell you something. Val takes no prisoners. Val had no fucks to give 20 years ago. So I can only imagine what unfiltered Val talking about those years. Also, she's been mentioned a couple of times, so we do need to talk to her about some of the things that she was mentioned in. All good. Everybody likes Val. Nothing bad. But yeah, so maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Maybe that's a good one to end the week on. We'll see if we can reach out and get her tomorrow. What else do I want to mention? All right, I'm crashing. Guys, how crazy was it? We started the show today at 12:05. And at about 12:50, I had to stop and go vomit again because of these crazy allergy pills that... Again, the allergy pills drain everything out, and a lot of it just goes right down into the stomach because I can't constantly, And all of that phlegm and sinus, it's in my stomach, and it starts to give me a stomach ache, and that's because of these pills. It's because this is what the pills do. It says right there on the bottle, side effects are nausea and vomiting. But I can breathe. See, so what's the trade-off? Isn't that an interesting devil's deal? Would you rather be able to breathe clearly, but be sick to your stomach and on the verge of vomiting? Or would you rather not be sick to your stomach on the verge of vomiting, but you can't breathe? You're just like, God. I don't know. It is a devil's deal. I appreciate you guys being so cool as I work through this week. Thank you. Comfort nest love. I feel great though. After that break for vomiting, I came back and I felt good. And now I'm starting to crash again. The crash is also part of these pills. They hype you up. Like that's why. Remember I said I used to not like to take the pills during the show. Sometimes I would take the pills when I felt something coming on, and then I'd do the show and I'd be like all scattered like I was today. And I'd say, oh, it's because of these pills I'm taking. I can't take these pills and do the show because I lose my train of thought. Well, today, in the last couple of days, I've had to take the pills. And I think we've done all right. Look at me going way over time, like a cokehead. Like some guy who did a bunch of coke before the show. I'm doing 3 hours. Honestly, when I started today, I was like, maybe I'd just do an hour if I can just make an hour. And then I vomited, and I came back. I rallied hard. That's for you folks. Tip the show if you can. The show does run on your tips. It's the end of the month. We're fucking dead. We're dead in the water. I don't know what the next month is going to look like. If we do not come up with some way to get an advertiser on this show for next month, this show will end. There you go. That's just the long and the short of it. The show can no longer go on with me begging you people for tips. We just don't have enough. You know, you people are loyal as fuck, man. And you're great. But not enough of you. Because you're not sharing the show. Share the show. Do all that stuff. Try and grow the audience. Then you won't feel so, put upon. Me going, tip the show if you can. Please tip the show if you can. Everybody who can has. And I so appreciate that. But yeah, something's got to be done. If we could get a sponsor to do $500 a month, for all of the shows, title sponsor, so that's all it would really take. That's all it would take. The tips and donations don't reach that amount. That's the amount that we essentially need, right? I mean, that's the amount that we need to keep doing the shows and me being fucking broke, right? But that's what we need to get through. So we're in a bad spot as far as where the show sits right now. So tip the show, support us if you can. We appreciate it. We'll be back tonight at 9 o'clock for Pugs, Parker, and E. Don't know what we're doing tonight. All right, love you guys. I'm going to bed. Although my text message has been blowing up, so apparently people are trying to get a hold of me. Hope it's good. Here's hoping. Love you guys. Bye.
Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest.
Oh, hold on. Let me address my man Barney. Barney described these pills as meth light. No, that's what Sudafed is. That's what Sudafed is. This stuff is meth. They basically just gave me prescription meth for my allergies. Love you. Bye.
A never-ending quest.